What do you get when some of the most individual sports stars club together? Well, a melting pot of history, tension, rivalry, friendship and elite stories. Here are some of the best off-camera anecdotes from the Ryder Cup. Number 1, Tigers loo roll. The protagonist, Lee Westwood's former caddy, Billy Foster, sat in a toilet cubicle at the Belfry. As he went to relieve his first morning nerves, Foster noticed only one of the 2 cubicles had loo roll, and while he was seated, in came a tiger into the empty cubicle, and he realised his mistake all too late. So Foster took some paper, reached under the cubicle with a rescue offering, and as Tiger went to take it, Foster uttered the words, "Europe, 1 up." As it happened, Europe did go on to win. Fast forward 10 years to the miraculous Medina, when, after a gruelling Saturday, Rory McIlroy overslept on the Sunday and was in danger of missing his tee time. Thankfully for him, the person booking player transport was Erica Stoll. She sorted him a police escort to the course. 3 years later, McIlroy proposed in Paris. The next story is told by Scottish legend Sam Torrance about the great Seve, who apparently despised the Americans mainly because of a diminutive US reporter who kept calling him Steve.
Hey, my name is Severiano for Seve. It's no Steve, it's no Steve. Next day, Steve.
Torrance also tells of how Seve regularly gave coaching clinics to his European teammates, but a week later at the Italian Open, when the same players asked for advice, Seve would tell them to and see you next year. Having started with a Billy Foster story, let's finish with one from the 12th tee at Oakland Hills in 2004. It was Jimenez and Garcia against Westwood and Clark in a practice round, and as they finished, Foster decided to jump in the buggy and speed away with all their clubs, only to lose control entirely and tumble onto the course and see it careering towards the spectators. Thankfully, the Red Sea parted and the buggy smashed into a tree, with viewers and clubs still intact.
Good morning, 3 minutes past 6 o'clock. It is Tuesday, October the 28th, and this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is alongside me. Morning, Coisty.
Oh, very good morning to you, Jeff. How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm fine. Wipe that smile off your face.
No. It's bizarre, eh? I mean, the whole thing, late last night, obviously, my phone just about exploded. And I tell you though, the one thing I will say, I was doing some interviews yesterday, post-afternoon, late afternoon, right? And the guys were talking to me about Celtic. And what I did say, it's amazing, I said, I did not think for a minute that Brendan would be Celtic manager at the start of next season.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said about 3 o'clock, maybe earlier. And I had no idea what was happening, to be brutally honest with you. But so, in that respect, it's a little bit of a shock, probably the timing. But as I said, I couldn't see him being Celtic manager at the start of the season.
Did you feel it was a case of, I mean, we'll come to David Desmond's reaction in a moment, but did you think it was a case of Brendan maybe jumping before he was pushed?
No, I don't think that was the case. I genuinely don't. But looking at his body language and listening, I think we spoke about it before, Jeff, and listening to his interviews in recent weeks, he was not a happy boy.
No.
You could see him in his body language and some of the things he was saying in interviews about, the stuff about his squad and things like that. You could tell he was clearly unhappy. I mean, because it was so on Brendan-like, actually, because it was as if he had dropped his guard with some of his quotes. So you could tell there was something underneath, rubbing away there. So, like anything else, I was surprised, but when I sat down and thought about it, not overly shocked.
But, you tender your resignation. You hope the response is going to go something like, "Oh, we're so sorry to see you go. Thank you for all your efforts and hard work while you've been here. You're always welcome back at this football club." And it wasn't quite that, was it?
Well, it wasn't.
No, Dermot Desmond said his words and actions have been divisive, misleading and self-serving and have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fuelled hostility towards the executive team and the board. But apart from that, Dermot,
oh, I know.
I mean, it's a lot. That's a tiny clip because it's a long statement.
Oh, I know it is.
It's almost as if
Jeff,
when you want to get something off your chest.
Yeah. Yeah, but can I backed up my point that you could tell all in the garden wasn't rosy? That's the point I'm trying to make. That you could tell right away.
There was a lot of manure in that garden.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Yeah.
You better believe it. I mean, seriously, some ill feeling in the statement. There's no doubt about that, Jeff. But, you could tell for weeks and weeks, as I mentioned, the body language, you could tell his interviews, the things he was saying. He was not a happy camper, right? And with that statement that's been released, you could absolutely guarantee that Dermot Desmond was not a happy camper with Brendan during that period, because that's a heck of a statement for a manager that effectively has been successful.
Yeah.
So it's an unbelievable statement.
Yeah. I mean, it's an amazing state of affairs, isn't it? Here we are, not at the end of October, and Rangers have changed their manager and Celtic are about to. Do you think, by the way, that the fact that Danny Rowell has come in at Rangers, he's only got one win.
Yeah.
But did that heap extra pressure on Brendan?
No, Jeff. There's something we're not eating away.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's got anything to do. I genuinely don't think it's got anything to do with Rangers changing the manager. I genuinely, 100%, my opinion is it's nothing to do with that. And I tell you, as much, I don't think it's anything to do with Celtic being behind Hearts at the league. I really don't. I think it's to do with Brendan being really unhappy with something at the club. I think recruitment's clearly one of the things, but I would suggest there's two or three things that he's very, very unhappy with. Recruitment being one of them. I do not think Rangers changing because I think the opposite, Jeff. I think the way things are at Rangers, Brendan would have been delighted to stay, to tell you the truth. Because effectively, the last 30 years would tell you, if you're a Celtic manager and you're beating Rangers, you're going to win a league, and vice versa. It might not be the case this year, but I don't think Rangers' situation really, honestly, well, I'm going to say I don't think it's anything to do with it. What I think slightly might have something to do with it is the fact that Rangers are so poor, and I think Brendan probably feels that Celtic haven't strengthened from a position of strength.
Well, no, and in fairness, but Dermot Desmond said, look, I mean, basically, Brendan was completely in charge of recruitment. Brendan, on the other hand, says, I mean, the famous quote, they've given me a Honda Civic and expect me to drive it like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any great investment. Rangers spent twice as much as Celtic did.
Correct.
But obviously Hearts spent significantly less. I just wonder, in the long term, once all the bitterness has died down, whether it might be for the benefit of both parties. Because Brendan's been there in two spells for nearly 300 games. You can stay too long at places, can't you?
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely, without a doubt. And it looked to me as though Brendan had stayed too long from the point of view that he just didn't look happy. That was the main thing. He didn't look happy, didn't look content. Didn't really look as though he was enjoying his job, to me, from the outside. And once that happens, I don't think there's any doubt that affects your job. It affects your ability to do your job. So, again, from that point, Jeff, I don't think it's been any major surprise. But I think you make a very valid point. I think the truth is somewhere in, like a lot of times, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
In terms of the recruitment and things like that. Because you're right, Rangers spent a lot more money. And Brendan, Dermot obviously came out and said that Brendan was in total charge of the recruitment, the ins and outs. And if that's the case, then so be it. But you'd have to suggest for a club that has so much money in the bank due to their success, particularly in Europe, have they spent enough?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Well, from Brendan's perspective, maybe it's, before I'm sure he'll be in demand, but before that, maybe time for a short break, Barbados, West Coast Hotel, that sort of thing.
I would hazard a guess that flight that Brendan's jumping on, Jeff, will be going east rather than west.
It's not going anywhere near Sandy Lane, is it? Which Dermot is co-owner of.
If it's going west, it's going northwest.
So look, I mean, the man to replace Brendan, for the time being at least, is the former Celtic boss, Martin O'Neill. And Martin, of course, was right here in this studio yesterday on White and Jordan.
Sure.
But speaking last week on the show, he said Brendan was wrong to publicly criticise the lack of investment.
I've made a lot of big statements in my time. I've come to regret loads of them, probably all of them. But I don't think you should be saying that at this minute, And I'm not one to be giving advice to managers and that. But
tell me why.
Well,
why shouldn't you say that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got an owner here who has had managers himself. Some he's liked and some he hasn't liked. And I don't think, and I'm not even going to speak for Simon. He might totally disagree. But if someone is saying a manager's making that comment, you feel as if it's actually directed at you and that you have not given him the tools to go and do what he's to do. Now, we all feel like this as managers. That's right. And owners feel differently. They feel as if, I haven't given them and they hasn't blinking well done the job.
So Martin O'Neill is temporarily in charge alongside Sean Maloney. We love having Martin here in the studio. He's got experience galore. He's worked with
talks a lot of sense, Martin.
Before.
He talks a lot of sense.
He's got a great track record.
Yeah.
Would he be a contender?
Oh, it'd have to be. Have to be. I mean, that's an interesting one, but I'm going to say it anyway. He's the Celtic best team in the last 25 years by a mile. It's not even up for consideration, in my opinion, that. Clearly, the Celtic side just now is nothing like the side that Martin had. But what you listen to that interview there, Jeff, Martin's right. I mean, it's difficult to be critical of Brendan in respect of the success he's achieved at Celtic, which he has. But as I said, some of the things he was saying, I mean, if Martin, and people in football, myself included, are opening their eyes and saying, wow, that's a heck of a thing to say, bordering on bizarre. You can tell something's not right within the camp. So, in answer to your question, yes, it'd be an obvious candidate. Obviously, taking on Sean Maloney, who's experienced in management as well, obviously Hibs and Wigan and things like that. So, from Celtic's point of view, now at this moment in time, they're in good hands. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely good hands with Martin and wee Sean. But whether that is the team to take them forward or not, time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, put it in perspective. Last season, Celtic won the league by 17 points. They finished 40 points ahead of Hearts, who they now trail by 8 points. Some turnaround. But look, it's a fascinating story, isn't it? What's going to happen at Celtic? What's going to happen to Brendan Rodgers? I think there'll certainly be plenty of suitors for him, probably in England.
The best thing that's happened? It's absolutely taken my prediction of Hearts winning the league right off the back pages, I'll tell you.
Look, I'm sure we can come back to that, Coisty. It's going to be interesting to see what impact it has on Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So Celtic fans, let's hear from you. Rangers fans, look, keep your thoughts to yourself. We all know what they are. What do you make of Desmond criticising Brendan Rodgers in the manner that he's done, and what do you want to see next? I mean, for goodness sake. Ange Postecoglou is odds-on favourite to return.
What's it would be, yeah?
03717 223344. Let us know. Coming up, we turn our attention to the back pages and the uproar, in inverted commas, surrounded by the lack of Premier League games on Boxing Day. That's next. Yeah, morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Very nearly 20 minutes past 6 o'clock. It's a Tuesday morning, October the 28th. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me doing a bit of bopping along.
Oh, come on, Jeff. Huh? Elvis.
Yes.
Oh, don't. No, this is bordering on your gravy one.
No,
This is bordering on gravy.
I loved Elvis, but
Oh,
not
good.
not Jailhouse Rock.
No?
I loved some of the ballads, "Love Me Tender" and things like that.
Oh,
Crying
but
in the
that-
chapel.
The fella had everything up his sleeve. The fella could do anything. He could
It
do
wasn't what was up his sleeve that people were interested in.
I take your point, but he could do no wrong. He could do.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. Bit of Jailhouse Rock because, of course, it's all changed at Celtic this morning with Martin O'Neill taking interim charge of the club. Just 3 minutes into the sports bar last night, you have to hear this. Dean, the storyteller Saunders,
dear.
lived up to his name regarding the situation at Parkhead.
So I was listening to, it was an MP talking about the prison service, right?
Right.
He was talking about the prison service now and all the prisons we've got and the prison, what salaries they get, the prison guards and their average age.
Right.
And he said it's important that they can see something further up the line, these prison guards, they're on like 35 grand a year, but it's important that their salaries go up.
Right.
So they stay in the service because it's experience that's needed when you're dealing with prisoners, when to put an arm around them,
Right.
when to realise this man's dangerous. He said that comes with experience.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Celtic need. Not a prison guard, but somebody like Martin O'Neill.
What are you
who
on
knows-
about?
Well, what I'm trying to say is
Been on, like,
you can't buy
for 3
experience.
minutes and you've already bamboozled me.
Right.
What are you going on about?
Well, you can't buy experience. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's really clear. Thanks, Dino.
Oh, oh, dear me. Only Dino.
How long do you
Only
think
Dino.
how long do you think he'd been thinking of that for? Or had he thought of it before he
No,
started?
oh no, I can guarantee that's just come straight to the forefront of Dino's cranium. That one has. I've got to say to you,
Yeah.
He doesn't plan an awful lot, Dino, but that even by his own standards, that's remarkable. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Scott has texted in and says the narrative that Brendan Rodgers didn't have money to spend needs to stop. Why don't journalists discuss the money he has spent? Yes, they have sold players, but those players were not signed for huge money. That is Celtic's model. He has spent a fortune in terms of Scottish football. Well, I think the total spend, during the course of the summer was something like 15 million euros, which ain't a fortune.
No, it's not.
And Rangers spent something like 30 million
Absolutely.
euros. And that's the only sort of comparison you can make.
And they get-
Hearts, something like 3 million.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, if you take into account where Celtic are, what position they're in, the money they've earned in recent years, no, I wouldn't take that argument at all. I would say by it's comparatively low spend, actually, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree. Right, it is, 23 minutes past 6. Let's take a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And Sam's back with us. Hey, Sam.
Very good morning,
guys.
Sam.
How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Ali,
How
how
are
was your holiday? Last time I saw you were jetting
Oh,
off.
it was magic, Sam. I went to Dubai, just did my usual, ate too much, drank too much, had played paddle, played golf.
Paddle.
Yeah.
Are you convert now?
I'm into it. I'm into it. Played with
Are
the
you,
boys.
No.
are you playing? No.
Oh, come
Still
on.
not having it.
Do you play it?
My knees, I can't move.
It's a perfect sport for it. Very
Oh,
inclusive.
Jeff, I've got to be quite honest here. I'm not flying across the court, to be brutally honest.
We look forward to McCoist v Jordan.
Well, there's a
Oh
challenge.
yeah.
Do you play it?
I try to when I've got time, but it's addictive. It is good.
Oh, it's magic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's addictive. It really is. And the beauty of it is it's not like tennis in the respect you can play it if you're gentlemen or ladies of our vintage.
Right.
Definitely.
Don't you feel you can with tennis?
I've got a problem with tennis where you hit it out and that's it. You have to go and get the ball.
You
Yeah,
don't
get
hit
the
it
ball.
out then.
I can't not. I'm too aggressive. I have no soft touch. I've got no finesse. Me. I'm all power.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I know where you're
I can
coming
imagine. Okay, should we have a look at the back pages?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right, we're going to start with Wayne Rooney. So he's come out on his podcast saying that Liverpool lack leaders and has also called out senior players for their poor body language, that Liverpool fans should be worried. So I just want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, is that the former Everton and Manchester United striker Wayne Rooney talking about Liverpool?
Mm-hmm.
You know something? I'm not so sure. I've got to say, I don't think the problem. I genuinely don't think, Sam, the problem right now with Liverpool is lack of leaders.
No, it's rubbish. I mean, let's be honest. It's you know, Van Dijk is a leader. I'm sorry, he's a leader. Andy Robertson is captain of Scotland.
Of course, yes. The goalkeeper.
For goodness sake, I think Szoboszlai is a leader as well. You know,
absolutely. And you'd have to say, in my opinion, you know, the way Salah, he's not playing well at this moment in time, but the way he plays like a leader. You know what I mean? Generally speaking. So I don't think it's a lack of leadership that's the problem at the moment.
So I'm going to have to agree but disagree here. So Virgil van Dijk, I think, is a fantastic captain. And I think Liverpool lack leaders. I don't think Virgil's not leading. Yeah. I don't think Robbo's not leading. Robbo's not started, so he's not on the pitch to have an impact. But for me, leaders have to have the ability to lead whilst also not having a detriment to their performance. I think Virgil van Dijk at the moment is so busy navigating his back line, motivating people, telling people where they need to be, that his leadership, he needs help. Like, who else on that Liverpool starting lineup is helping him lead? And when I talk about lead, it's asking more of the players. It's being vocal. And that's where I feel they lack leadership. Not because the lack of... Well, yeah, the lack of players. Who on that Liverpool team is an out-and-out leader? Mo Salah, great player, but he's not a leader. He's a follower. There's nothing wrong with being a follower.
How many captains do you want on the field, then?
But you don't have to have the captain armband to be a leader. I captained...
Well, if you're not all singing from the same hymn sheet, you know, I think if Virgil van Dijk is the captain, he is the leader. He is the man whose voice you want to hear. You don't want to hear voices from the right wing, the left wing, the goalkeeper. You know,
But I do. It's communication. It's leadership. I think you have to have followers. That's really important because everyone can't lead. But when you're in a high performing environment, pressure is on. You still need players who are going to ask more. And I'm not saying you're going to be shouting at them, but you need people to grab the game, whether it's physically going hard into tackles or verbally. I think Liverpool really lack that, and I think that comes from a lack of confidence of not knowing the style of play, the starting lineup.
That's an interesting one. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that at all. I look at Liverpool just now, and I think I don't think the problems are a lack of leadership. I don't. I mean, you can discuss it, and you might think that, excuse me, a lack of leaders in the team. But I just think, I actually think it's pretty straightforward. I think a loss of form to key players and injuries to key players. I mean, you can't go from how they looked last year and what they achieved last year by the best team in the league by a mile now to where they are at this moment in time, lost 4 league games. Excuse me. I think effectively, Salah, you're missing Gravenberch, you're missing the goalkeeper. I actually think you're missing Trent. I think there's other reasons for it. It's a combination of a few things, but I'm not sure. I know what you're saying. When you go through times like that, you look to your leaders, right, to lead you through it effectively. But I just think Van Dijk, for example, is one of the ultimate leaders. I really do. I genuinely think he's one of the ultimate leaders. And I think there's more to it than that. I just think it's a loss of form and 1 or 2 injuries more than anything.
I agree with that being the reasons, but I think the fact that when so-and-so hits the fan, you do need people who are going to
step up to the plate.
Literally step up. And I think everyone's looking at each other. Because, again, Alisson's been out for a number of games. He's a key leader when it comes to communication and telling players where they need to be. I just think Virgil, he's a great leader. He obviously took the team into an extended meeting with coaches, with just players, which goes to show how good of a leader he is. But he has his hands full. Kerkez, for me, he's trying, do you know what I mean? I think Kerkez last year was brilliant, but at Liverpool, terrible, in my opinion.
Club, complete.
No. But Virgil's having to compensate for him.
He's playing for a massive club now where he wasn't last time, and that's going to take some time for him to cope with.
Where I would take your point, by the way, I think Jordan Henderson, the Liverpool team right now, would make a difference.
And James Milner.
Yeah.
Those type of players.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Sam, thanks very much indeed.
Lovely.
That was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. Coming up, we turn our attention to Manchester United. Are all the signs pointing in the right direction for Ruben Amorim and United fans? That's next.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Corinthian-Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were absolutely sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895 they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money, but instead of entering league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. Think of it like the Harlem Globetrotters of football, and it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil, and the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest clubs in Brazil.
Morning, 6:35 on talkSPORT.
No wonder you're laughing.
No. I saw one of the headlines. We should, in the news, 262 prisoners up to March 2025 let out of British prisons by accident. How does that happen? I mean, how can you make that? How can you make 262 mistakes?
Oh, it's easy. You just turn up at the front gate and say, "That's me." See you again, boys. Okay. Well, hopefully I won't see you again, boys, but thanks very much.
I mean, sorry, I shouldn't laugh because there's no laughing matter.
It's incredible, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is staggering. By the way, interesting that there's going to be a sort of inquiry into headlight dazzle. Because I see all the time, the times you're blinded by headlights coming, and I live in the country, and on those country roads, you're absolutely dazzled, and there's not much room for error there either, So, would welcome that. Manchester United fans, they will welcome the fact that they have won 3 in a row. So let's take a look at whether this is a turning point for Manchester United, Coisty.
Yes.
Or a flash in the pan. What do you think?
Well, I think time will tell, to be honest with you. I think the first thing you've got to say is they look miles better. Right, there's still a long way to go, Jeff. There's no doubt about it. But they've had 3 victories. As I said, I think I said to you yesterday, their victory against Sunderland at home probably right now looks a better result than we maybe thought it was at the time. Their victory at Anfield was a fantastic result, absolutely fantastic result, and they followed that up with a victory against a team that probably aren't firing but are more than capable of a hiccup. So I don't think it's any. I really don't. I don't think it's any coincidence that the goalkeeper's changed. Excuse me. I think I said to you yesterday as well. It looks to me as though Cunha and Mbeumo, they can handle it. Yeah. I think that's important, Jeff. You look at new signings coming to any club, and see, whether they're the real deal or not. Manchester United is different, right? Manchester United is a different club. Whether people like it or not, that's a fact of the matter. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world and have been for a long, long time. So it does go with that added pressure. Now, I think I said to you yesterday, there's been a lot of Manchester United players that have come and gone that look as though they couldn't handle it. You know, whether it's Sancho, whether it's Højlund, you know, whether it's the one that escapes me, went to Real Betis, the winger Anthony. You know, there's you could make a case. Probably the jury's still out on on one or two, but I just think I look at Cunha and I look at Mbeumo, and they look to me as if, you know, okay, we're at Manchester United. I've got to do this and I've got to do that. I've got to do the next thing. I can handle it. I can handle the pressure of being at that club, which is a great start. So I think in forward areas, straight away, they've been better. They've been a good bit better. I think the goalkeeper change for me is very, very important. And I think that the team, certainly the defence, but on top of that, I think the team is getting a new kind of confidence from the goalkeeper.
But basically, apart from the goalkeeper, it's the same team. Same formation, the much criticised formation. He hasn't changed that.
No, absolutely.
Is it really all down effectively to the goalkeeper?
No, not at all. Not all of it. No, absolutely not. But well, what do you think? I think the forward players that I've mentioned have made a big difference because I think they're quality. I mean, I really, really like Cunha. And then Mbeumo scored, was it 4 or 3? I think it's 4 in his last 3 games. So that's a step in the right direction. You know, I think they were too reliant on Fernandes. You know, I'm not sure whether it'll be interesting to see, you know, where he plays in the team going forward. It looks as though he might, you know, be in that 4 rather than one of the forward ones, which a lot of people don't think's his best position. But they seem more solid as well. You know, I genuinely think if he plays his back 3, he's now got 4 or 5 that are capable of getting into that back 3. I would bring Harry Maguire and Martinez when he comes back into the equations. But I don't think they're anywhere near the stage where we could sit and count them as title contenders. I think it'll suit them no European football, because it will give the manager time to implement his ideas a lot more on the training ground. Because make no mistake about it, Jeff, I don't care what anybody says, if you get games and you're flying all over Europe, you're leaving on a Monday for a game on a Tuesday, or Tuesday for a game on a Wednesday, that definitely affects your time to get your message across on the training ground. There's no doubt about that.
I think you talk about the forwards as well. Cunha and Mbeumo and Mason Mount when he's playing, and actually Šeško when he's played as well. I think what you get from them now is not just an output going forward, but, you know, that vulnerable sort of heartbeat of Manchester United, Casemiro and Bruno. In that. I think that the amount of work that these guys put in, Cunha and Mbeumo, Mount, you know, they are providing the required shield, if you like, for Casemiro and Bruno, which maybe they didn't have with certain players.
I think you make a great point. And you look at some of the footage from Mafela, who's doing really well in Barcelona at this moment in time, and we're all delighted for him. But I would suggest it's not the same Marcus Rashford at Barcelona as the one we saw at Manchester United.
No, well, you wouldn't see Marcus Rashford working back in the way that the likes of Brian and Mbeumo do.
Correct. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter where you are on the pitch, you've got 2 responsibilities, one's to attack and one's to defend. It doesn't matter what position you are on the pitch, whether you're a centre forward or right back. You know, that's your job. You defend and you attack as a team. And I take your point totally. Manchester United, as good as they are, and the improvement that they've had in forward areas, one of them is the point you make. And defensive situations from the forward players is a lot better.
Yeah. Now, it's not so long ago, it's 20 days ago, actually, that Jim Ratcliffe gave an interview. And remember, he said Ruben Amorim had 3 years to prove he's a good coach. Actually, let's just remind ourselves what Amorim said about Ratcliffe's comment and the impact
First
it would
of
have
all,
on
I
the
can
team.
feel it. It's not just that thing that people talk, but I feel it in every day. And again, sometimes the pressure that I put on the team, on myself, is so much bigger than them. I know that is going to take a while, but I don't want to think like that. I said that last year. But of course, again, it's really good to hear that. I think it helps also our fans to understand that the leadership understands that it's going to take a while. But at the same moment, I don't like that, because we'll give a feeling that we have time to work things out. So I don't want that feeling here in our club. Again, the most important thing is the next game. It's good to feel the support, but we need to prove in football, and especially in big clubs, that in every weekend we are ready to win games.
So he had pretty mixed feelings about it, in truth, didn't he? He didn't want the 3 years to prove himself. Has that had any impact at all?
Oh, yeah, I think it's clever. I think it's very clever. Because in the modern dressing room, I would suggest to you, Jeff, that there will be players who are on the fringe of things, maybe out the team, will be saying to themselves, well, he's not going to be here, so I'll just sit tight here and do my bits and pieces and do my job.
Now they know he will be here.
Yeah. So that I think it's clever. I really do think it's clever. He's made that statement. Now, the one thing making the statement, he has to stand by it, right? So it looks as though that's a given. So it gives the manager the confidence, I think, to press forward without the fear of upsetting players. Because that's some things that managers got to take it, particularly nowadays. I mean, back in my day, where it's Jock Wallace or Graham Souness or Walter, whoever it was, all they were interested in was the team. And if it meant upsetting players, so be it. That's life. And we all knew the rules, and that's the way it was. But nowadays, within dressing rooms, I'm not saying managers are walking on eggshells. I'm not saying that at all. But there has to be a degree of keeping the dressing room happy, and in many ways, keeping the non-playing staff happy. If you can do that, that helps.
So this is their best run since February 2024, when they won 4 league games in a row under Erik ten Hag. We all know how that ended.
In tears.
Despite the good run. But under Ten Hag, they finished 8th in that season and won the FA Cup. Would that be enough for Amorim this season?
Yeah, it would. And it sounds a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? Because if it's not good enough for Ten Hag, why should it be good enough for Amorim?
Yeah.
But after last season, I think it will be good enough for Amorim. I'll tell you right now, I think if you offered Amorim and the Manchester United, well, maybe not right now because they won 4 in a row, but at the start of the season, if you'd said to them, you finish 8th, you got a European place and win the FA Cup, be interesting.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Manchester United fans. Would you have accepted? I think they would have.
And you said they can't win the title, and I completely accept that. Why can't they challenge the top 4? They're above Liverpool, they're above Villa, they're above Chelsea, and if you look at who they've played Arsenal, they played Man City, they played Liverpool, they played Chelsea, they've played a lot of the big guns already. They've got Spurs coming up, and after that, they don't have any of the big 6, the so-called big 6, until January the 17th. So what an opportunity this
Excuse me. Well, in answer to your question there, they can, Jeff. I'll be honest, because at the start of the season, I didn't think they could. Right, I'll tell you right now, I took Liverpool to win the league. I changed my mind after I watched Liverpool Arsenal. I think we're entitled to change our mind, but you've got to make your predictions, and that we all know the game. I did not think for a minute I could not see Manchester United finishing the top 4. As it happens, I still don't think they will. But recent form from United and recent form from the inconsistency of Spurs, Chelsea and teams like that, with Newcastle, whoever it may be, Villa, I know they've picked up a little bit, but the inconsistency of those teams would tell you that they can. But it's one of the reasons it's open season.
Yeah.
My point with Manchester United is Manchester United, more than anything at this moment in time, yes, there was some terrific performances and results in the league, but you look at Manchester United, Jeff, and you'd be loath to throw your hat in the ring and say, well, that's the corner turned.
Yeah.
That's my point.
We shall see. Only time will tell. Coisey, thanks very much.
Thank you.
David says Liverpool going on about 4 new players. Sunderland have got 14 new players, and it's a massive step up from the Championship. How good are we going to be when the lads gel? Brilliant. Thanks, David. Coming up, we'll hear from some Celtic fans who are delighted by the news that Brendan Rodgers has left. 03717 22 3344 is the number to call to have your say. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Let's get some headlines now from Nick Ellaby. So it's an in-joke, but Nick, who's our newsreader at the top of the hour, just came in about 3 minutes ago and sat down, thinking it was 7 o'clock. You had me looking at the clock.
We've got to him, Jeff. It's taken us a while, but we've got to him.
We have, yeah. Brilliant. It's actually, you're checking, it's 10 minutes.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's 7 o'clock. Yeah. Andy has texted and said, morning, boys. Ali, can I just say, us United fans wouldn't accept at the start of the season if we were offered an 8th place finish. We are, like you said, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like I messaged yesterday, we are going to challenge Arsenal this year. I can see the difference. We look together as a team. We're just missing a top defensive midfielder, which come January, we hopefully could get. So Andy, very optimistic.
Yes.
Now it's our biggest competition yet. We're giving you the chance to play to win up to £100,000. It's talkSPORT's biggest ever cash prize, £100,000, and it is tax-free. If you're the lucky winner, that excitement doesn't stop there. You'll also be coming to talkSPORT Towers on Thursday, the 13th of November, to play for that life-saving cash prize. Here's how to enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
A lot of Celtic fans want to have their say. Steve was actually an owl. He said Martin O'Neill did say yesterday Celtic and Rangers need consistency. Then they appoint a manager who's not been in the dugout for 20 years. Makes sense. Well, Martin's got a great track record.
Yeah.
It's worth saying.
I think it's worth saying Martin's when he's, it doesn't matter, for me, it doesn't matter how long Martin's out of the dugout, he knows he's around the place, you know what I mean? Of course he does.
And look, we're biased. Of course we are.
Yeah.
We're biased towards Martin, that's for sure. Let's go to the phone lines now. 03717 223344. Brendan Rodgers leaving Celtic. Desmond, not that one, has called, Dermot Desmond has called Rodgers' words toxic and self-serving. And I've never seen an outburst quite like it, to be brutally honest. Let's speak to Fraser, the Celtic man. Morning, Fraser.
Good morning, Fraser.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're very well. Thanks for calling us this morning, mate. What do you think? You must have been surprised, or were you surprised?
No, I'm delighted, Ali. I swear I've been on fan media type things, having a go at people. The amount of rubbish that's been spoken about Celtic, and I personally identified Rodgers as the culprit. You know, he spoke about transfers. We sold Kyogo. We brought in Jota. That was a 10 million man for an 8.5 million man. Maeda moved to centre forward and only scored 33 goals when he done that, right?
Yep.
If you look at since we beat yous in the cup final, Ali,
yep.
We haven't had a significant game, and we scraped that with a chicken's tooth, as you will appreciate, penalties. It was a terrible display. We also just scraped through previously with Aberdeen. We haven't had a good performance in 7 months. Brendan's been in the huff. He done it at Leicester. He done it at us before, right? There was failures in the transfer this summer, but Celtic get knocked back for about 5 players when they offered serious dough, right? And when we brought in players, the likes of Yamada, the way that he has been treated by Brendan Rodgers. Now remember, when we brought in Maeda, he wasn't match fit, if you like. Do you know what I mean? But he was signed for 900,000. We bring in another Japanese international, and he's told he's garbage. The same with the left back. I can't remember the boy's name just now. If you look at when Brendan arrived, Naropski and Lager Bielka, the way they were treated, absolutely ridiculous. That was £8 million worth of players. I think they played about 4 games between them. Do you know? Because Brendan didn't sign them. Brendan didn't want them.
What did you think? Can I ask you? What did you think of Dermot Desmond's statement? I mean, Jeff and I, we've got to say, we were, we were a little bit surprised at the severity of it. What did you think? Ali,
how was Neil Lennon treated in Neil Lennon's last tenure as manager? Wasn't great. He was treated with the utmost respect. Celtic have never released a statement like that in their puff about anything. Right?
Yeah.
This has been going on far too long, and they gave him every opportunity to put on his big boy pants and act like an adult, but he can't do it. Do you know what Brendan should do? He should go into a career with a forum, right? Because that's the type. He's a politician, okay? Like I say, that's all he says. He doesn't answer a question, and he makes allegations and then runs away and hides and then says, "Oh, I didn't mean that.
Fraser, got to stop you there. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Fraser. Appreciate that, mate.
He has managed Celtic for almost 300 games. He has won multiple titles, multiple Scottish Cups, multiple League Cups as well. Maybe he deserved a bit of a better exit than the one he's received. But let's hear from Ian, who's a Celtic fan. Morning, Ian.
Good morning, Ian. What are you thinking, mate?
Good morning, boys. First of all, a Celtic season ticket holder for over 35 years, been supporting Celtic for over 50 years. This is not a bad day for Celtic. This is actually positive. Rodgers, thank you for what you've done in the trebles that you've done. But over the past 7 months, this man has brought our club to its knees nearly. Now, coming back from Edinburgh on Sunday, the talk in the car was, he's got to go. Tactically, this man is inept. He's got a fledged Celtic, a fledged centre half on the bench in Trusty, but he throws a young boy in. Now the boy own goal, not his fault. That'll hurt that boy for the rest of his life, I'm sure. But Rodgers leaving today is positive for Celtic. Now Martin will come in and settle the ship. They've not got a bad team. There's good players there. They've been playing in wrong positions. It's unbelievable that Cariati, Alamati, or whatever they're called for cats stand, Rodgers should have left that day. He should have walked away and said, sorry, I don't have it.
Just a quick one, I want to come in. I know we've got to go to the news, but you said something that clearly nobody at Celtic has said yet, and that was thanks very much for your service, thanks very much for your trebles. Why did Dermot not say that? Well,
I'll tell you why, Ali. Roger, you know the section of the Celtic support. I'm not even going to give them airtime. You know the section of the Celtic support, but I do not support.
Yeah.
Rodgers has put oil on their fire, and they're now turned against the board. This is not 1993-94 where we're 1 hour away from being liquidated.
Yeah.
They've came in, they've settled their club. We're a wealthy club as wealth goes in Scotland. You know, he's put oil on their fire. So the quicker that he got out the door, but coming back from Edinburgh on Sunday, that was the talk in the car. Mm-hmm. This man has got to leave. He's got to leave today.
But he's gone in, and you know, it'll be interesting to see who comes in, won't it?
Yeah.
But look, thank you very much indeed, Ian. We have got the news, so we've got to go. Just got to say, Paul's texted in though and said, I really can't wait on Man United to lose their next game, and then probably the one after that. They've only beaten Sunderland and Brighton at home. Well, they did beat Chelsea as well.
Yes.
Oh, and they did go to Anfield and win at Liverpool as well. But hey, that's by the by. Right, still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Former Celtic midfielder Paul Lambert, who won the league 4 times, will join us to have his say on Brendan Rodgers' departure and why they turned to Martin O'Neill on a temporary basis, an interim basis. But next we'll turn our attention back to Liverpool and what the problems there actually are. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Yeah, morning, very nearly 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. A lot of reaction coming in about Brendan Rodgers' departure from Celtic. Mark says, well, he sums it up this way: Celtic fans protest against the board make Brendan Rodgers a scapegoat, and Celtic fans lap it up. Genius. It's one way to look at things, Mark. Yeah. But callers so far, by and large, they welcomed the fact that Brendan has left. Maybe it's the reaction of Des McDermott.
It was interesting, definitely. It was interesting to hear Martin as well, Jeff. I'm really interested to listen to Martin. I looked at Martin's, I think about Martin's Celtic team, which was very successful, won leagues and got to a UEFA final. And I'm thinking of boys like Bobo Baldi, Mialbi, guys like that, proper, hard, physical, and he's right. Yeah, that's what. Never mind Celtic. That's what Rangers are completely missing. Yeah, right. And people are going, "Oh, it's not about that. It's about talent. It's about this, that, and the next thing." You have to have a physicality about your team. Celtic don't have it at this moment in time. Carter Vickers gives them it, but he's out. And Trusty would have given them a certain degree as well, but and Rangers certainly don't have it, mate.
Okay. Now, it was another harrowing night for Arne Slot's Liverpool at Brentford at the weekend. They looked weak defensively, missed chances going forward. The champions looking a shadow of themselves at the moment. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown claimed yesterday that manager Arne Slot has actually made the team weaker. Take a listen.
Isn't he now not a part of the problem? So he inherits a team from Klopp that plays with a 4-1-2-3, okay? Gravenberch is sitting really deep in that midfield, giving a really good screen to his two central defenders who looked extremely exposed this year. He tries to make the next step. He's looking for solutions, yeah? And in doing so, I think he's made the team weaker.
Team weaker, quite well.
No, I don't think the team's weaker.
Well, it is weaker than last season, surely.
Well,
at the moment, I'm not saying that, that it will be.
Results the bottom line is results would tell you that. Results would tell you that, and recent form would tell you that. But I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think, getting rid of Nunes, I mentioned it yesterday to you, Jeff, Nunes and Diaz, and obviously the tragic situation surrounding Jota, taking that into account. They have lost some firepower, by the way. They have lost some firepower. Now, they've replaced it, right? They have replaced it. But the jury is still out, in my opinion, to whether they've replaced it effectively. We cannot underestimate the drop in form for Mo Salah. Mo Salah's been, you talk about De Bruyne, probably been the best player that we've seen in the Isles for about 4 or 5 years, right? So he's a dramatic drop in form. They've made a signing. I mean, who in their right mind would have thought, that Isak was not going to be a good signing, and he's not going to score goals. At this moment in time, again, the jury's out because he's injured. I don't think he's made the team weaker. Gravenberch, I think, is a big miss for him. The goalkeeper's a big miss for him. He hasn't made the team weaker, I don't think. That would be my opinion. I think they've still got massive amounts of improvement in that team, and they're underachieving for whatever reason at this moment in time.
Paul from Cambridge, Liverpool fans, says, great show. He said, I'm not saying this will solve all of our problems, but we buy Isak, who's decent in the air. Why don't we just cross the ball? We continuously recycle.
Do you know something?
Just put it in the box.
What a great, it's a great, I know Isak wasn't playing at the weekend, but that is a great point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Liverpool at the weekend, and the ball's going wide to it's Salah or Bradley, other side, Kirky, and I'm saying to myself, just put it in the box. Just whip it in the box. Just deliver it in the box. Right? Well, a bit of pace. You don't need to have a big centre forward because the Brentford defenders are, by and large, good headers of the ball and they're solid defenders. But don't hang it up. Whip it in with pace and see what happens.
Now, everyone's got their ideas about what's going on. Well, the Mail's Merseyside writer Don King tweeted on X, if Alisson is in goal last night against Brentford, Kevin Schade doesn't score Brentford's second goal. He's out and smothering the attack before Schade can think. Let's get a bit more on this. Dom joins us now. Morning, Dom.
Dom, how are you?
Very well. Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, listen, it's not like Mr. Arsenal, Martin Keown, to wade in at the right time.
No, not at all. No.
What a surprise that is.
Well, it's funny, Dom. I've got to say to you, I don't know if you heard the show yesterday, but Jeff and I did suggest that he went down rather easily and made Shade's mind up. So we don't necessarily disagree with you.
No, do you know what? I watched it back, and I've obviously, you can probably see on the replies, I've had a lot of kickback on it. But I've watched Alisson that long, and I know that much about him, that he would have started on about, his starting position would have been on the 18-yard box, and he either stands up as Shade's running at him, or he goes out, or he advances a little bit further to sort of put doubt in his mind. And I think he diffuses the situation. Now, if you watch the goal back, Mamardashvili retreats as Shade's going, and the ball almost goes into it sort of slides past him rather than having to make his mind up for him. I just think Alisson's got that. I think, I've said it to you before, Alisson's the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. And we've all talked about what's going to happen when Salah leaves and what happens when Van Dijk leaves eventually in time. I think it's being overlooked that when this goalkeeper moves on, whether it'll be at the end of this season or next or wherever, the drop-off is going to be absolutely enormous because you can't replace this guy. He's the best that I've seen in the Premier League. I know people will be screaming at me and saying about Schmeichel. fully respectful of Peter Schmeichel. This goalkeeper is the best I've seen, and I think he would have saved that on Saturday night.
I'll tell you what, Don, before we go any further, mate, I find that absolutely remarkable. I'm digging you up straight away. You've mentioned that goal, right? Now, we can talk about the goalkeeper, and he might have saved it, he might have done this, he might have done that. What about the pass for Damsgaard?
Oh, unbelievable. Ali, do you know what? Ali, I've watched Damsgaard ever since he scored against England in the semi-final, and just thought what a brilliant signing it was, and he's one of those great players that goes under the radar a bit, but you just every time you see him, he just catches your eye. He's just beautiful on the ball, uses it well. Got a trick, got a shot. Yeah, I think he's fabulous. It was a brilliant ball.
So after the game, Dom, Arnie Slot was talking about sides finding a way to play against Liverpool. He said we haven't found the answer. He's talking about teams playing with a low block and then long balls. That might be honest to say we haven't found the answer, but as a coach, it's his job to find the answer, and isn't he just effectively telling teams how to beat Liverpool?
I think he's almost been too honest for his own good. What I haven't liked about this at the moment, the last couple of weeks, and think, Ali, I don't know whether you were on, Jeff, but I know you were, Ali, when we were talking after the Chelsea game, and I mentioned about sort of how the team looked in injury time in terms of the wide open spaces that Chelsea were able to run through. And if Liverpool had just stayed compact that night and took a 1-1 draw, that would have been a perfectly good result. The last two games against Manchester United and then on Saturday, I just haven't liked seeing Virgil van Dijk up front, and then I think four players played it right back through the game, and it's like square pegs being put into round holes, and you just sort of moving things around the pitch, and it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like Liverpool have got answers when there are too many good players there at the moment for this to continue.
Dom, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Dom. Have a good day, mate.
See you soon.
Curzo says, Coist, you mentioned Rangers and Celtic are missing physicality, so are Liverpool. Kelleher, he said as well, should never have been allowed to leave, and not enough has been made about that. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Ian in Surrey says, what bull from Martin Keown. He said, Slot inherited a team from Klopp with Gravenberch holding. Gravenberch barely got a kick under Klopp. Slot made him into a 6, which is absolutely true. The problem is balance because the full-backs are not settling and not trusted.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah. Full-backs, yeah.
Oh, well, they're definitely struggling on full-back, aren't they?
Definitely.
Don't forget Liverpool's next game tomorrow night against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. It's live here on talkSPORT. Coverage starts at 7, kick-off 7:45. Coming up, we turn our attention to the news that there are going to be the fewest games on Boxing Day, December the 26th, since 1982. Does it bother you? Give us a call, 03717 223344, if you want to have your say on that. Very nearly 7:20. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Me, Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist, and Sam is back with us. So, why are we playing that?
Good morning, I know.
Good morning again,
It's the first Christmas jingle I've heard this year.
Yep.
Just over 8 weeks until Christmas.
Yep.
Too early, in my opinion, to start talking about it, but here we are. Just going to talk about Christmas traditions. Everyone's got them. Some things should never change. Turkey, pigs in blankets, chocolate for breakfast, cracking open the champagne for breakfast. Why not? Afternoon nap.
You're not changing any of those, surely.
No,
Right,
not
okay,
changing it.
that's
But then
fair enough.
Boxing Day, you've got your leftovers, turkey sandwich,
Yep.
all day in your PJs to crack on a full schedule of Premier League fixtures.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it already.
But that's, of course, all changing. News out that there's only going to be one Premier League game on Boxing Day. Now, it's been claimed that calendar pressures triggered by UEFA competitions expansion and FA Cup switching to exclusively weekends has forced the Premier League's hand because they are contractually obliged to deliver 33 weekends of broadcast and they need to deliver its promise. So it'll be treated as a regular Premier League weekend. So one game on the Friday and the fixtures as normal. Massive uproar, I must add, especially on social media. Absolute disgrace. TV and money dictating yet again. Some traditions are worth protecting and Boxing Day football is one of them. And madness, the game's gone. The footy on Boxing Day has always been a huge tradition. Absolute joke.
Well, I've got to say, I'm a little bit, I mean, I'm over it. First of all, I've got to say I'm over it. But I'm a little bit of a traditionalist, and and I do like my football on Boxing Day, whether I'm working or whether I'm sitting in front of telly with a bottle of beer and my turkey sandwich was full of stuffing. I do enjoy my football on Boxing Day, right? But I'm not overly throwing the toys out the pram, to be honest with you. That's where I am with it. Would I miss it? Yes, I would. I probably would. It'd be wrong for me to say I wouldn't miss it. But I'm not sure it's a massive deal. I won't be getting my lawyer involved.
I mean, tradition's a thing of the past. Let's be brutally honest. Well, it is. It is. I mean, last weekend.
All right, Scrooge. Not on Christmas.
Last weekend, we had. On Saturday, we had 2 Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. We're used to the fixtures being spread absolutely everywhere. Look, I mean, last year I did every game, every goal on Amazon Prime on Boxing Day. There were 8 Premier League games. It was absolutely fantastic. But there are issues, there are things like, transport for fans, travelling fans on Boxing Day is a nightmare. So I am with the traditionalists in a way, but I don't think it's any real big deal. By the way, this is just Premier League. If you're a football fan, go and support your EFL side. Actually, better still, go and support your National League or your National League North or National League South side. Go to Hartlepool against Scunthorpe. Boxing Day. Perfect way to spend your Boxing Day.
Get down to Kempton, a bit of horse racing as well.
That's the other thing. That is the other thing. I used to do a bit of that in Boxing Day when I was down south. But I think you make a good point. Jeff, 100%, right? I'm a bit of a, as I said, traditionalist, and I'm kind of, I'm not throwing the toys at the pram, but I would like to see top league football on Boxing Day, but that does not mean you don't have any football in Boxing Day. You're right. Get out, support your local team, no matter who may be.
I think the uproar comes from the tradition. So typically Christmas, you're with your loved ones, people live far and wide, and on that day, you want to be with your granddad, your uncles, your mums, your nanas, sisters, to watch your team play. So that I can see. But I want to see the EFL teams. They need to take advantage of this. Who are now in their club in the marketing is going, right, let's get our packages together. Boxing Day, Christmas Day packages, families, ticket packages.
What an opportunity.
Because it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, of course it is. Absolute opportunity. And they will come out and support. I mean, we mentioned it yesterday, like Sheffield Wednesday, for example. I mean, I would imagine right now, if they've got a game in Boxing Day at home, you could sell it over about 3 or 4 times.
And from a player's perspective, I mean,
I'd be ecstatic.
You must be ecstatic.
Oh, you kidding me on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a different opinion entirely.
Yeah.
If I'm a player. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying my Christmas Day.
I tell you what, in terms of tradition, how far back do you go? Because tradition used to be you played on Christmas Day.
That's right. That's right.
Here's a quiz question for you as well. Boxing Day, what year did they see 66 goals in 10 games? Go on. This is a pub quiz question everyone should know.
Yeah, I remember
it featured that 10-1 win
Yeah.
from Fulham over Ipswich. 5-1 Chelsea beat Blackpool.
And they used to play
6-1 United lost to Burnley.
And they played the reverse fixtures the next day, didn't they, or whatever? And the scores were, completely different.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, judging by those teams, it's got to be 60s, maybe might even be 50s.
Go on. You're in the right ballpark. 60s.
I would have said about 63.
Bit later, maybe, is he?
Bang on. 63. Ally McCoist pulled that one out of the.
Wow. So,
someone used to be a question of small captain.
He was around at the time, obviously. No,
I think I must admit the players up and down the top flight will be like, "You're beauty," because they will get a day off. They never used to get a day off, as you say, used to play. But if you're playing on Boxing Day, you're always in on Christmas Day. We were always in.
Yeah,
Christmas Day.
Yeah, and if it was an away game, you used to have to travel.
Yeah,
I remember Matt and Tissier telling me that one of the Southampton games they were playing somewhere sort of. I think actually it was a home game, but they were made to go to a hotel on Christmas Day and stay overnight on Christmas Day. Tiss sneaked out from his room at about 5 o'clock and went back home. Yeah. But apart from that, that was how it used to be done. So, look, there are pros and cons, I think, no doubt.
There'll be football anyway. That's the most important.
Yeah. But look, if you want to get in touch on this, do you have a problem with it? Give us a call. 03717 223344 is the number to call. Thanks, Sam. Darren is not alone in saying that Dom is delusional. Alisson is not the best goalkeeper ever in the Premier League. It's Peter Schmeichel. Let's be honest, follow your heart. And I mean, I wouldn't agree that Alisson's the best goalkeeper. Just a couple of years ago, people were asking the question, who's the best, Alisson or Ederson, for example? And then you've got people like Petr Cech.
Of course, it's all about opinion. Schmeichel would come into the equation, Cech would come into the equation. What I would say...
Thibaut Courtois?
Yeah, he'd come into the equation.
David Seaman, obviously.
Absolutely. One thing I would say, he gave the best goalkeeping performance I've seen in a long time last season in Paris. Alisson was incredible for the 90 minutes I watched
he was.
Absolutely incredible, mate.
He's a top goalkeeper.
He's
a top
Whether
goalkeeper.
he's the best or not, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Coming up, we hear from a certain Chelsea-supporting talkSPORT host who wants Enzo Maresca sacked and Tony Pulis brought in. That's next.
pads are a footballer's best friend. Even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there actually any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads for a century. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. His Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this kind of protection was pretty important for footballers. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says they must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, even though there have been calls for it to be changed. But for now, that's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and our friends at Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Dom King, you started something. Current best goalkeeper.
Done, Dom.
David Raya, absolutely non-negotiable. Most clean sheets for 2 years. Class with his feet. Pulls off worldy saves when required.
Best
Unlucky,
ever,
Dom.
Best ever.
Yeah, but in fairness to our texter, he said current best goalkeeper.
I wouldn't argue with that, actually.
David Raya. So, David Raya or Alisson? Interesting choice.
That is an interesting. I'll tell you what, Jeff, to be fair to Mikel Arteta, I mean, that was one of them when he signed Raya and the Ramsdale and all that stuff. I was the one that raised the eyebrows. Boys, he's been proved.
He's brilliant. He's been absolutely. Mr. T says the same thing. Alisson, the best goalkeeper. Who's the Golden Glove holder, and how long have they held the title? The one and only David Raya. I think he's been
terrific,
brilliant. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And you know, you look back, you think about goalkeeping mistakes and goalkeeping errors. I can't remember him making.
He'd won early on, and it must have been that bad. I can't remember it. But I do remember him having won early on. Wow. I can't. I know. Yeah, but I can't remember the game.
So rare.
Yes, correct.
So rare. Now, Chelsea suffered a shock defeat to Sunderland at the Bridge on Saturday, and talkSPORT's resident Chelsea moaner, Andy Jacobs, lost his head yet again.
He makes it worse. He's the only player that makes it worse all the time. And it's just, if it was me, I'd fire him today and bring in Tony Pulis.
Really?
Because that's what football is now. Football basically has gone back to the 80s. It's all set plays.
Is it Chelsea's performance you lament, or is it as the game gone?
The game. I think the game, and the fact that Arsenal are top means they're the best at it. They're the best at this sort of crazy gang hybrid 80s football that we've got now.
Right.
And that's what we've got.
You don't have a long throw specialist.
We'll talk about this. No, because this is another reason why I get rid of Maresca. He turns around, he's joking, he said, I don't like long throws. I'm not doing it.
Right. Okay.
Well, you're an idiot then, mate, aren't you? Because everybody else is, and they're scoring goals from it. So if you don't realise football's changed, then you're going to have a problem.
The long throw is everywhere, but not at Chelsea. But maybe that's just because they haven't got to take a long throw, you know? If he had a long throw, proponent, surely he'd use him from time to time.
Yeah, but Matt, I'm looking at Chelsea at the weekend. Regardless if they get somebody to take a long throw, if they get anybody, really, that will go on the end of a long throw.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at Brentford. Brilliant. Ayer came in there and the long throw. He started brilliant. He started actually nearly on the byline and ran away for the goal to get the header. And that's what he was doing. I think I do think it's a great weapon if you've got the players to utilise it. I really do. I think it's a great weapon. I don't think it's, it's the first thing you got to say, it's within the laws of the game.
Yeah.
So if you can use it and you're good at it, use it.
Yeah. Maybe not relentlessly, though.
No, mix it up.
I just think that maybe sides don't quite mix it up enough. But it's a legitimate weapon. There's no doubt about that. It'd be interesting to see how many goals have come from long throws so far this season in the Premier League. And now it's all changed at Parkhead after, to say the least, a shaky start to the season for Celtic.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
Brendan Rodgers warned the board they had to invest in the team at the start of this season. Celtic's worst European result in their modern history.
Has anyone seen Celtic? Oh my God! Alan Brazil, can you me big out? You're going to liver beating.
It's probably the worst 2 legs of a game I've seen Celtic play. Did they look better than the opposition? It was just rubbish.
I can't be any more motivated to turn it around, because it's okay when you're winning trophies and playing great football and everything else, because for me it's not what Celtic is about, or not what Celtic should be about.
Celtic really didn't find any rhythm. It took them an hour before they had a shot on target. Rangers 0, Celtic 0.
I play for a Sunday team and I've saw better down a school pitch. It was absolutely tragic.
And it's finished at Tynecastle. Hearts 3, Celtic 1. They go 8 points clear over Celtic.
There's no way you'll go into a race and be given the keys to a Honda Civic, and as you take off, say, I want you to drive it like a Ferrari. It's not going to happen.
Brendan Rodgers is leaving Celtic. Brendan Rodgers is always and has forever been in the Brendan Rodgers business, and so now it no longer suits him to be at Celtic because he can't get precisely what he wants.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers resigning as Celtic manager amid accusations from major shareholder Dermot Desmond of divisive, misleading and self-serving behaviour in an astonishing outburst to fans. He challenged Brendan's assertion that he was formally offered a contract extension, denied that signings were imposed upon the manager, and criticised his desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. Let's bring in a man who played over 190 times for Celtic between 1997 and 2005. Paul Lambert's with us. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Coisty. How are you?
We're in top form.
Didn't expect to be talking about this morning, by the way, when you were booked. But there we go. What do you make, not so much of Brendan deciding to leave, but the club's response? So I said the club, actually, Dermot Desmond's response.
There's obviously been a bit of animosity there for Dermot to come out with kind of that statement. Brendan's got his own reasons for leaving. I get it. But as Coisty will vouch, the King's dead, long live the King. Who's the next one? And that's the way football works, especially in Glasgow, where it's all about winning, Jeff. And Dermot and Brendan will have their own issues. I think that's... But I think that's... Do you know what? I get sick of hearing them fighting. I think the players have got to look at themselves as well and think, well, what have we actually done? It's dead easy to hide behind a manager. I mean, when you're a Celtic player, a Rangers player for that matter, when you sign it, read the contract at the very bottom. It said you must win every game. And if you don't, you're going to get absolute pilloried for it, and quite rightly so, because that's a demand of the clubs. But I think Dermot and Brendan thing, maybe that should have stayed in-house a little bit and just cut a tie on it. But I think Martin getting in, or the gaffer getting in there, should have called him. I think it's a masterstroke, because he will galvanise the support again.
100%, Paul. I agree with just about absolutely everything you've said there. Here's my next question to you, mate. We woke up this morning with the news, or we heard the news last night, and we're going like, what a surprise, what a shock. But is it? And the reason I'm asking you that, because I'm looking at Brendan, Paul, and you probably looked at him yourself, and whether it was some of his statements or his body language, you could tell he just didn't seem happy or content.
Yeah, I think when you're a manager, listen, I've been in that position where where you try and defend everything that you possibly can, but then it gets to a point where you think, well, this is going to be really tough to defend here. I need to try and help myself as well. Maybe the car thing or the Honda thing wasn't the greatest thing to have said. I'm pretty sure he'll look back on that and probably think maybe it wasn't the time or the place to do it. But I don't think you can take away his achievements or try and kind of undermine what he actually done for the club, because he's done ever so well there. Maybe that should have been handled better in-house, I think, and then walk away from it and then let the new manager come in and try and galvanise it. So I think, maybe one or two things when he sits back and looks at it. But all in all, I think he's done a really good job there. You know, the results obviously the last few weeks have been tough, and the little run that he's going to come, or the run Celtic are going to come into now, they're tough games. They're going to have to get themselves going.
Yeah. I mean, you said the king is dead. Long live the king. Who is going to be the next king? I mean, all the talk is of Ange Postecoglou. Could they possibly take him back?
I think, listen, Jeff, I spoke to the gaffer this morning when I heard he was going in, and if there's one man, as I said before, that can get a crowd going and handle the journalism of it and handle the pressure of it, then it's him. Without a doubt, I think it's a masterstroke by Dermot to bring him back in term, albeit he's not taking on the group of players he had in the early 2000s with ourselves, where we were proper men there and proper guys that, listen, at 28, 29 years of age, 30 years of age, I never had to be told where to play in a football pitch. I knew exactly where I was going. I didn't need somebody to coach me. We needed a manager at the time, because obviously at Coist's time they were a brilliant Rangers side with Gaza and Coist and Loudrops and all that at that time. So I think when Martin came in, he changed the narrative of it, and then Dick Advocat came in, and Rangers Celtic were so nip and tuck at that time. At the minute, the two of them look as a wee bit in a disarray with it. I think Rangers are probably worse than Celtic at the minute, but I think the two clubs at the minute are probably not the strongest on the field.
I agree with you totally, and I think Martin's a really clever, intelligent, and I think he's an excellent manager. I think he's the perfect choice for Celtic right at this moment in time. However, Paul, what I would say to you is this: in my opinion, it might be the worst Rangers and Celtic teams, whether we like it or not, for a long, long time. I genuinely do. I mean, you spoke about your team in 2003, whatever it be, a brilliant team. You'd men, mate. You'd men. I spoke about Baldy and Mialbi and boys like that. The Rangers Celtic, all from now are missing that. So with that in mind, and everybody points to the run that beg your pardon, Aberdeen went on at the start of last season. I don't know, mate. I just I can smell something a little bit different about Hearts. You know, I think obviously. And I had to say careful not to take anything away from them, but I think one of the best things going for Hearts at this moment in time is the weakness within Celtic and Rangers, and I think they can build on it, mate. And I thought that the result of the weekend, I don't know if you watched the game, I thought it was well deserved.
No, listen, the best team won, and I don't think anybody can say that. But even if you go back, Coisty, to the year we stopped to 10 in a row with yourselves there, you're right, a team of men, two teams were really good. Hearts were in the run up until March and then capitulated after that. It's over that whole season where that's why you're a Rangers Celtic player, because you're expected to win games. You're expected to live the Glasgow Goldfish Bowl. You can't play, you have to play 9 out of 10 brilliant games. In your 10th one, you're absolutely rotten. So, and the Celtic and Rangers fans will let you know. But that, to me, that's the difference between the provisional club and the top clubs. You have to perform every single week, as you know. And I'll guarantee you'll probably get asked in the street in Glasgow, hey, what's going to happen at Rangers? Yeah. Well, you're not at Rangers anymore. I'm not at Celtic anymore. So you can only go by what you experience as a player, and you've managed the club. And I can only speak from experience as a player. What I do know about Celtic is you have to win. That is a remit of the football club. Regardless how you do it, you have to win football games.
Paul, lovely. Thanks for taking the time out
Great
this
job
morning.
To you, mate.
I love the way you still call Martin O'Neill Gaffer as well. Brilliant. Thanks, Paul.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, thanks. Cheers.
So Celtic fans, taking your calls this morning. Who are you pointing the finger at? Rodgers or Desmond? Who do you want to take over? 03717 223344. Pick up the phone. And has a list of goalkeepers who are better than Alisson in his view in the Premier League. Seaman, Schmeichel, Cech, Ederson, Van der Sar, Donnarumma. Emmy Martinez and Ben Foster. And the Wizard's Apprentice says, best keeper, why none of you Muppets mentioning Jordan Pickford single-handedly kept Everton from Championship football? He says, and I'm a West Ham fan. If you've got a view on that, same number, 03717 223344. Right, still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
We will have the 5-time Olympic champion Bradley Wiggins right here in the studio. That's coming up just after 9. You won't want to miss that.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning, it is 7:49. It's Tuesday, October the 28th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. Now, could the Giant Killers pull off another shock tonight?
Burma with a little jogging run up has missed. It's in the underside of the bar. And Grimsby Town have knocked Manchester United out of the League Cup.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Grimsby Town 1. The voyaging Mariners, they're through to the fourth round of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, they've dumped Premier League Manchester United out of the Carabao Cup. They've dumped Championship Sheffield Wednesday out. Now tonight, another Premier League side, Grimsby, have Brentford in their sights. It's live right here on talkSPORT with the winner booking a spot in the quarter-finals. Joining us to look ahead to it is the Grimsby boss, David Artell. Morning again, David.
Good morning, David.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
Hey, this is some run again, isn't it? Manchester United, Sheffield Wednesday, now Brentford. Is it difficult to get the boys to keep on raising their levels?
I don't think so. I think the professional footballers, they should understand what's in front of them. I don't think they should be overawed. But at the same time, we know it's going to be a difficult test tonight against an excellent, like a truly excellent Premier League team. So that's the challenge that lies in front of us and the players. So we've faced bigger in terms of stature, Manchester United, etc. We then went to Hillsborough with 5,500, 6,000 fans cheering us on. So, you know, we've had to back that result up against Manchester United, and we've done that. So let's see what tonight brings in front of a packed BP again.
It's I'm kind of stating the obvious here, David, but I'm guessing, now I'm not trying to terrify you or scare you in any way, shape or form here, but I was at Brentford at the weekend there and saw them perform against Liverpool, and boy, were they good. Were they good. I mean, it was some talented, extremely talented players obviously on the pitch, but the level of pressing and aggression and putting Liverpool under pressures and taking them out of comfort zone, I thought was excellent. You've obviously watched the game.
Yeah, we saw the game Saturday night on TV. Me and my assistant went to watch them at West Ham on Monday night, and we were impressed by them. You can't fail to be impressed by them. They absolutely walloped West Ham on the night, and it should have been much more than 2-0. I was saying yesterday when we did the press, that when you compare these to Man United, Manchester United is right at the start of the beginning of their journey under a new manager and implementing principles and etc. And there'll be chinks in their armour. Whereas Brentford, even though they've got a new manager, they've promoted from within, they've got really established and really clearly and well-defined principles of play in all phases of the game. Hence why they've promoted from within, to keep that continuity and that alignment. So it's going to be an extremely difficult test and a difficult challenge. It is against any Premier League team, but certainly one who's in top form. You know, they've beaten Chelsea and Liverpool in the last 4 weeks. And with, like I say, with everyone on the same page. But that's the challenge. You know, that's why we're in this game that's called football. And that's why we want to test ourselves against the best. And Brentford are one of the best.
Look, it's not their only threat, but they do like to utilise that long throw a bit, don't they, with Coyote? You ready for that?
Yeah, you know, it always makes me giggle that, it's a new thing. It's never been at League Two and League One, let me tell you. Yeah. We have one every week. We had one last weekend at Crewe, and we had one the week before against Gillingham. I appreciate Arsenal and Brentford and other clubs in the Premier League have sort of brought it back into fashion, and these sort of trends do go in cycles, as you know, per se, if you like, but it's never really gone away out of League One and League Two, that's for sure.
Your boys are sitting in, I would suggest, good position in the league. I saw one at the weekend. You lost a late goal. How was it the weekend, mate, Crew?
There's two ways that I sort of judge our performances. The result is obviously important, but also the performance. And we didn't get the result, and we didn't have the performance.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. We told the players we went through it for fairly much longer than we would normally yesterday morning before we moved on to Brentford, because they needed to understand. But then, you know, look, we're still in a playoff position. We're a quarter way through the season. We're in the last 16 of the League Cup. We've got, you know, like I said, a Premier League team for the second time coming to Blundell Park, and we've got Ebbsfleet on Saturday in the first round of the FA Cup. So it's not disastrous, and one performance or poor performance at the weekend doesn't define our season. So whatever happens tonight, that won't define our season. But we're making a good fist of it at the minute, but we've still got plenty of progress to make.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned obviously you got tonight, then you got Ebbsfleet at the weekend. I think you've got an EFL Trophy game next Tuesday as well. By my calculation, this one's your 20th game of the season, David. It's relentless, isn't it? Absolutely relentless. How do you cope? How do the players cope?
I think there's far worse things to do in life. That's the way I look at it. Last Monday, me and my assistant went to West Ham. Tuesday night, we'd come back, did the training in the morning, Tuesday morning, having took training Monday morning. Then Tuesday night, I was at Enfield versus Ebbsfleet. My assistant was at Swindon, Notts County. We wouldn't do it if we didn't love it and didn't want to do it, I'm sure. Well, I certainly wouldn't. If I didn't want to do it and I didn't like it, I'd go and do something I did enjoy.
David, tell me, just a quick one, mate. I was actually I'm sure it was at Southampton when Grimsby knocked him out.
Harry Haddocks.
I'm telling you right now, that one of the highlights of my last couple of years, those supporters were absolutely amazing. I'm guessing they'll be in fine fettle this evening as well.
Yeah, but I think anybody who was in the ground for the Man United game would say that he was probably the best. I said it yesterday again. I've played in front of 40 and 50,000. I was at the European Championships final when England lost to Italy. And there's 90,000 there. I've never experienced an atmosphere because of this sort of small but absolutely bristling atmosphere against Man United. Yes, there was only 9,000, but it was like all 9,000 were singing all the time. And that helps. And I'm sure it's going to be the same again tonight. We said last time we want it to be a platform, not a pinnacle, and the football club representative of the whole community and the town, and I think we did that. Then we backed that up by taking 6,000 fans to Hillsborough in a 9,000 attendance. The fans are incredible. They've been incredible. I think every away game we've took over 1,000 fans bar one, and that was in London, and we took 900 and something. So it was probably a bus broke down on the way. So, but the fans are incredible. They're incredible. Yeah. We're a one-town club. There's not another club for an hour because we're sort of out on a limb a little bit. But they don't half get behind us, and we're hoping that they help us to more success tonight.
Looking forward to it, David.
Very much so.
Good luck, David. Mate.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you. Great, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the Southampton game you're talking about.
Oh, my
God. The game I always remember because Gav Holohan scored 2 penalties.
Yeah.
2 penalties for Grimsby. It takes some bottle going to a Premier League ground away from home in a big game for the club and taking 1 penalty.
Jeff, it was magic.
To take 2. Wow.
Honestly, I remember it. I mean, I've been really lucky. It's been some great games over the last couple of years. But I remember that one. And the atmosphere and those fans, it was just brilliant.
And to a man, they were waving their hands, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, it was great.
It's brilliant.
Happy days.
Well, what a run they are having. Absolutely sensational. Imagine the mood in the town is brilliant right now. Matthew's a Newcastle fan, says, come on, lads, some bang average goalkeepers getting mentioned here. Alisson, Cech and Big Edwin are the unquestionable top 3. Shay Given was also an unbelievable shot stopper.
Yeah.
It is, 7:58? Coming up next, we turn our attention to Sheffield Wednesday. Barry Bannon's with us next.
There's a lot of talk about the independent football regulator. Some people love the sound of it, others don't. But what actually is it? And is it going to be any good for the game? In simple terms, it'll be an organisation not controlled by the Premier League, the EFL or the government, which will make sure all clubs are financially stable and don't rip off the fans. The aim is to make sure what happened to Bury, Derby and Reading doesn't happen again. Now, a significant reason clubs go under is because of dodgy owners financially mismanaging the club and running it into the ground. But in theory, these should be a thing of the past with the new regulator. They'll be able to use data from the National Crime Agency to perform stronger fit and proper persons tests and can even force owners to give up their stake in a club, which for certain supporters might be a welcome relief. It's likely good news for the EFL. The tension between them and the Premier League over a fair financial deal has been increasing in recent years. As it stands, talks have broken down. The Premier League backed out of recent negotiations, but the regulator will have the power to force through a deal, meaning more money for clubs lower down the pyramid. Now, this might sound simple, but in reality there's concerns this will open a legal can of worms, which could result in messy court cases involving the Premier League and the regulator. Parachute payments will be brought under the control of the regulator too. If they reduce them, it could mean a wider variety of clubs securing promotion to the top flight, but critics reckon it'll just mean the gap between the Premier League and EFL actually widens, as promoted clubs won't get as much money, which should normally be used to buy better players so they can compete. And current Premier League clubs have said if there were no parachute payments, they'd actually invest less, which would harm the quality of the top flight. And if clubs don't invest, then you'll get exactly what the EFL don't want, which is the same 3 clubs going down every year. And remember when Cardiff's owners changed the club's colours and badge? Well, in future, fans will have to approve any major changes to their club's heritage. Now, that might all sound great, but do we really need it? Some say the downfall of Reading and Bury is an exception, not the rule. So as a whole, the most successful footballing pyramid in world football doesn't need regulation. They say it scares investors who can help grow the game. If those investors go elsewhere, well, the Premier League may no longer be the destination for the best players in the world. And others, well, they just don't trust politicians to appoint truly independent people to regulate our game.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Almost 8:05, Tuesday, October the 28th. On the way for you this morning, 5-time Olympic gold medalist Sir Bradley Wiggins will join us right here in the studio to tell us about his new book, The Chain. It makes difficult reading at times, I'll tell you that. We build up to Wrexham against Cardiff. It's another Carabao Cup last 16 game, 2 Welsh sides, with the former Red striker Lee Trundle. He was a player, wasn't he? He was an entertainer, Lee
that's
Trundle.
exactly what he was.
Yeah. I'm not so sure it's a derby. In fact, I know it's not a derby. They might both be in Wales, but they're 3.5 hours drive apart. Not a derby. Celtic fans, keep the calls coming too. 03717 223344. That's the number to call. Did Brendan Rodgers really create a toxic atmosphere as he's being accused of doing? Want to hear from you.
Here's an interesting one, Jeff. We're hearing from Celtic fans. Yes, we'd love to hear from Celtic fans. 03717 223344. I wouldn't mind hearing from 1 or 2 Hearts fans. Is it a good thing for Hearts or is it a bad thing for Hearts? I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
Be interesting to hear the opinions on it.
It will indeed. I would imagine a lot of them would have preferred things just to carry on exactly as they were.
That's my point.
You know, you don't want, from a Hearts perspective, you don't want a new manager bounce. At Celtic or Rangers. I know Rangers are a fair old way behind. But there we go. Sam, who's a Swansea fan, says, a lot of unhappy Swansea fans at the moment. I'd welcome Brendan Rodgers back. Now, before all that, things are finally looking up for Sheffield Wednesday.
Right-footed, it's saved, Leeds are out. Sheffield Wednesday, with a team of teenagers, have knocked out their Premier League Yorkshire rivals. They've represented this club, this city, with pride, and amidst the backdrop of a boycott.
Our job's obviously to go out and perform on the pitch, but it is hard when it's coming closer and closer to payday.
Black and gold until it's sold is the motto around these parts, and now more people are coming on. It is a peaceful protest, but it is just a sign that these fans now have had enough.
The organisational structure at Sheffield Wednesday was non-existent. He did run Sheffield Wednesday like a dictatorship.
This is a proper football club with proper supporters who are making a point.
Some breaking news, Sheffield Wednesday have just filed for administration.
The 12-point deduction inevitably means they're going to end up in League One. I think they were heading that way anyway.
A magnificent club, I have to tell you. The support and the fan base and the loyalty of the supporters there is incredible.
We want a plan, first and foremost. He didn't have one. We want someone that's got a plan.
But the only way forward is to get a new owner, and I think this is the first step on the road to that, and hopefully for one of England's grand old clubs, the first step on the road to recovery.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, you think going into administration and a 12-point deduction would be bad news, but that's not the way that Sheffield Wednesday fans are necessarily seeing it. Their former owner is gone, and consequently more than 27,000 of them rolled up at the weekend to see Wednesday play Oxford, many of whom, of course, have been boycotting previous games. The fans who previously refrained from spending any money in the club outlets, well, they made up for lost time as well. They spent £500,000 in the club shop since Friday. Absolutely brilliant. No one better to talk about this than the man we usually turn to when we're talking to Sheffield Wednesday. It's their captain, Barry Bannon. Barry, morning.
Morning, Barry.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
Well, yeah, we're really well, and it's nice to talk to you when there's some positivity, which I know sounds daft after you've gone into administration and got that 12-point deduction, but can you explain the difference in feeling around the club today from this time last week?
Yeah, well, as you say, positivity being the key word, Jeff. I think on Saturday the turnout from the fans spoke volumes. It's their livelihoods at the minute that was getting affected, and you could see it was on Saturday. It was a huge sigh of relief. They came out in their numbers and they made it an amazing day. Obviously, we didn't get the result, but the actual feel-good factor was back around the stadium again in the city.
Barry, tell me, I think, and we've been speaking about it quite a lot, we actually think yourself and the boys and indeed the fans have handled the whole thing incredibly classy and really, really well, mate. But the fact of the matter is, you're right, it's amazing to talk about positivity now that the club's going into administration. But the fact of the matter is, with your 12-point deduction, you're now on, I think it's -6 points. How's the mental approach now for the boys going forward?
It's not really changed, to be honest, because as soon as the season started, we knew we had a tough task ahead of us. So it was all about staying in the league. Obviously, we've not had a great start as well and with results, so it's been hard anyway. This makes it obviously a lot harder, but it gives you a bit of freedom now as well to just go out and try and enjoy your football, because everybody's written us off and probably put us in League One already. So anything we do above that is a bonus for us, really. So we've got no pressure on us as a club. We've just got to go out and play with a bit of freedom and try and enjoy it.
I guess one of the difficulties, Barry, is that a lot of the damage has been done in that you've lost so many players. I mean, the likes of Josh Windass, Michael Smith, so on and so forth. And I don't know if you know, I've got no idea, but if the club is sold, whether those transfer embargoes will still stand or whether you'll be able to bring in any new blood.
Yeah, I think from what the administrators said, maybe in January, where we'll be allowed to bring in loans and free transfers. But at the minute, because there's still embargoes over the club, it probably won't be allowed to sign players for fees. That might change, it might not. But I just think going into January, if we still had the previous chairman, then we wouldn't be allowed to sign players either way, whether it was on a free or on loans or whatever. So it is a bit that's better for us, really, that in January we can maybe get some help on board to try and help us.
Barry, tell me, mate, having been through that kind of circumstance myself, did you have any dealings yourself personally as being a skipper with Administrator Chris Wigfield? And if you did, how was it?
I spoke to him obviously on Friday, and he had a big meeting in front of all the boys and the staff at the training ground, and then I'm aware he went down to the stadium and had a meeting with them as well. He was brilliant, really. We had a lot of clarity of what's going to happen going forward, which we've not had as a club for a while. So he was brilliant. He's gave his number, so if anybody wants to ask questions, they can contact him. So he came across really well, and it feels we're in the right hands to find the right buyer, because he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan for 40 odd years as well, all the guys. So hopefully he'll find the right buyer and the person that wants to help the club going forward.
Yeah. I saw the look of astonishment on his face. He was asked in a television interview if he was confident the club would be sold. And he just look around, but it's great that already he's saying 4 or 5 serious bids, Barry. So, I mean, I think the big thing is that the future of the club is almost secured.
Yeah, of course. The future being, it needs to go to the right person. You can have all the money in the world, but as we've seen the previous owner, we never had a structure from bottom to top, and that kind of made us suffer a little bit. So it needs to be the right person that knows what they're doing and it's going to sort the club out from top to bottom, really, with the right structure. Because, as you know, football clubs are run from the background, and that's how the successful clubs do it. So we need somebody that's going to come in and do that.
You're a modest lad, I know that, Barry, but I just want to read your text out from Ben, who says, Barry Bannon, our greatest player ever, a true owl. Thanks for sticking by us, Baz, and leading by example. Absolute legend. So there, I mean, I think in his view, Ben's view, he speaks for a lot of people, Barry. Thank you so much, mate.
Thanks, Barry. All the best, pal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant.
Great.
Yeah.
Magic.
You know.
I just wanted to thoroughly depress him and ask him about the Celtic situation, but we ran out of time here.
Yeah.
He got away with it there, wee Barry. He got away with it.
Look, I know it's an impossible task for them. And, you know, they're on -6 points.
But isn't it incredible what we're just saying? The relief and the positivity that they can now look forward, right? Because they didn't see beforehand, Jeff, there was no light at the end of that tunnel for them.
None.
And now there is.
Yeah.
It might be a long way away, but there's light there.
They'll be, forgive me, they will be playing League One football next year. I say that because last season, 49 points kept Hull up. That would mean that this Sheffield Wednesday side would need to get 55 points from their remaining 34 games. It ain't going to happen.
Correct.
Not with the squad they've got right now, and the fact that they can't pay fees to bring anybody in.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing League One football next season. But for Wednesday fans, all they care about is that their club will be playing football next season. That's the only thing that matters.
Absolutely.
They've been in League One before. They got out of it before, and I've got no real doubts that that'll happen again. Yeah. So it's fantastic for Sheffield Wednesday fans. And loads of response to Barry Bannon. Alex is another one. As a Wednesday fan, can you thank Barry for sticking with us and tell him we need to get sorting his statue? Brilliant.
Well, it won't be a big one, to be fair. It'll be cheaper than most, won't it? Sorry about that, Barry.
Yeah. I think Barry's about the same height as me. Yeah. All I say is if only I was...
That backs up my statement, really, doesn't it?
If only I was the same weight as Barry, I'd be a happy boy. Anyway. Coming up, Ali's already gone viral discussing one darts player's band's nickname. We thought we'd get his thoughts on another controversy in darts next. very good morning to you. It is Tuesday, October the 28th, 8:18, very nearly 8:19. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me, as always, on Fridays. Alan Brazil and Ray Parlour were tackling all the hard-hitting stories from the world of sport. Last week, they got stuck into the story dominating the headlines ahead of the Darts World Championships at the Ali Pali.
Australian player Tim Pussy has qualified for Ali Pali, but has been forced to abandon his naughty pet name, the Magnet. What can he rename his the Magnet at the moment, but he's not allowed to use that?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you reckon now?
You get some trouble here.
Galore?
Doubles galore.
Yeah,
trebles
something
galore.
like that.
You get some trouble here.
Spiky?
Whoa.
Baldy?
The Brazilian.
Baldy. Oh, there's a couple of other I could have said, but obviously we can't.
Like what?
No.
Oh, man alive, that's brilliant. I'd have went for Octo.
Octopussy, yeah.
I can't remember the other one. We'd won on about a year ago, Jeff. I swear I lost it entirely, man. They would not.
That's not like you, Casey.
But you can't beat a good nickname to get me going, I'll tell you. But that was funny. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Don't forget, Big R will be back tomorrow morning alongside Ali. Paul has texted and he said, gents, I think Rodgers was never going to extend his contract beyond 2026, as he openly admits to having an ambition to return to the Premier League. Celtic, and especially Dermot Desmond, knew that, and the blind man could see, they chose not to strengthen during the summer. In effect, they were both guilty of self-serving to each of their own agendas. Thank you, Paul. Interesting point. Let's take a quick Celtic call, actually. 03717 223344. Did Brendan Rodgers really create a toxic atmosphere? That's what Dermot Desmond has said. Hugh is a Celtic fan. Morning, Hugh.
Good morning, Hugh.
Morning, Coisty. Morning, Jeff. Great show as always. Loving your banter. Fantastic.
Thank you, mate. So what's your view of the goings-on at Celtic?
Well, I think, to be honest, Dermot shouldn't be airing his dirty linen in public so quickly. It doesn't give Martin a chance to sort of steady the ship as things go. And we at the old Forest Dars, Forest Mechanics, I don't know if you've heard of them, we Highland League club who won the North of Scotland Cup last weekend.
Know it well, Hugh.
You do. That's a good man. I like to hear that. We mentioned for the Cans. But we think that it's really a wee bit too much for Dermot to be laying in so heavily. He's a private man generally and doesn't normally do this sort of thing. So
you can tell something's happened between the two of them, I would imagine, or he's been really unhappy. But I take your point, Hugh. I don't think it really serves them to any purpose if you're washing your linen in public. And plus, the first thing at Martin's first press conference, you can guarantee that's the first question that got fired at him.
Exactly. They'll get away from what he's trying to get done. And, you know, Martin's got a difficult job on his hands. The sort of the romantics among us will all love to see him back, and I don't see there'll be much in the way of objection to that. But what he's got on his hands is it's a tough weekend coming up with you boys on Sunday.
Hugh, I'm just going to give you a quick story. Forest Mechanics. We played in the Scottish Cup, right? I'm going to tell you, Hugh, I'm still not over it. I am still not over it. We were 1-0 up. We're about 10. You were down to 10 men, right? And we were hanging on. And I said to Gerrani and McDowell, I said, whatever you do, just look as though you know what you're doing. Oh, man, I was mentally and physically scarred at Mechanics.
Hugh, thank you very much.
Take care, mate.
All the best, boys. Have a good day.
You too.
We'll be speaking to Celtic legend Charlie Mulgrew at around 8:30. Brendan's gone, of course, and a lot of suggestions. Frex and Carlisle says Brendan to West Ham. Stranger things have happened. Got to give Nuno more than, 3 games or whatever.
I'm forgiving him more than 3 games.
More than 3 games. And Chris says, morning, gents. Brendan Rodgers to Wolves. I'm going to the Fulham game on Saturday. Lose that? Could it happen? That's Chris, a Wolves fan. Look, I think he'll definitely be in demand. No question. Of course he will. Right, let's get the latest odds now with Coral and John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Hey, John, good morning.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Alan. Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing?
We're doing very well. Now, the first place we're going, obviously, latest odds on the new Celtic manager, John. What?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you're keeping us busy, the bookmakers up in Scotland this year, Ali.
We are,
mate. Celtic and all this merry-go-round. But, that news broke last night and we were hot off the press. It's obviously a strange one with Martin going in there on the interim basis, temporary basis, caretaker, whatever you want to call that. So how we phrase this is Celtic manager on the first day of the 2026-27 season, just to keep it very clean there, Ali. And it is Big Ange, who's favourite to return. He's 5-2 favourite, Big Ange, to go back to Celtic Park. Robbie Keane, top end of the betting at 9-2. Craig Bellamy, done a great job at Wales. He's 8-1. Damien Duff, 8-1. And Martin O'Neill, 10-1 to get the job permanently. So pick the bones out of that one, Ali.
Oh, yeah.
Are Celtic still favourites for the title at the moment then, John?
They are just about, just favour 4-5 in our betting. So how do you think Martin will go in there and turn things around?
I think it makes sense, John. I think it absolutely makes sense putting Martin in. He knows the club better than anybody. He's a really, really safe pair of hands, knowledgeable, knows the drill. Sean Maloney's a great lad as well that knows, obviously, managerial and coaching experience, Hibs and Wigan and things like that. But here's a question I would ask you, John. The removal of Brendan from the manager's position at Celtic, does that have an effect on the betting between Celtic and Hearts?
Well, not at the moment. Hearts are 6-4. As I mentioned, 4-5 Celtic. But, it could go two ways. People may look at this and have more confidence in Celtic now, might they? They might think this needed to be done. You heard the comments went out last night, the toxic atmosphere in the boardroom and the dressing room, etc. It seemed like it had to go. Something had to change there, and Brendan's decided to walk away. So, look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fascinating. From a neutral, I have to say, I think it's been a great season in Scotland. It's great to see Hearts involved in the title, and long may that continue. I want it to go right down to the wire. But, time will tell on this one, Ali. We'll see at the end of the season if this was the right move or the wrong move.
Yeah. Carabao Cup continues this evening, of course. A lot of eyes on Grimsby up against Brentford. What about the outrights, though? Because a lot of the big boys, a lot of the big guns are still involved. Most of them play tomorrow night. You always wonder about pricing the Carabao Cup because you never know what sort of teams they're going to play.
I'm like you, absolutely, Jeff. It's always difficult to determine, and probably difficult for the bookmakers as well, isn't it, really, the price compilers? Because if they put strong teams out, you'd expect the likes of Liverpool, City to be contested in the final. But at the moment, it's 4-1 the field. So 4-1 Liverpool favourites, City 9-2, Arsenal 9-2, Chelsea 6-1. 15-2 Newcastle obviously won their first silverware in a long time last season. So it is all about team selection. And I always say, anyone who's having a bet on the Carabao Cup, particularly in the matches and the first goal scorer, have a look at the team sheet before your game, because that will give you a good idea. And tonight, look at Fulham versus Wickham. I've got a feeling Fulham are going to be strong tonight. They've lost the last 4 games on the spin. That puts a bit of pressure on Marco Silva and his team. So that might impact his team selection. Whereas if they've probably won 4 in the spin in the Premier League, it might have rested quite a few tonight. So, team sheet is going to be important.
Just remind me how many goals Manny Dizarugue's got for you so far, John?
Just the 12.
Oh, my God.
Not been a bad side.
He's not letting that go, John, is he? He's not letting it go.
And rightly so. I just cannot believe we've got a player of this quality up front, I have to say.
All right, go away. Go away. Thanks, John.
Cheers, boys.
That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to correlated.
You're struggling to go over that, mate, aren't you? You're not really getting over that.
No. Well, I mean... he was our top goal scorer 3 seasons in a row.
Oh, my.
And he goes to Rochdale, allowed to leave, go to Rochdale, and he's the top goal scorer in the National League. It's hard. It is. It's hard to swallow.
Of course
Liam says Brendan Rodgers to Norwich. Second from bottom, aren't they, in the Championship? At the moment, so sounds like there might be a lot of options around for Brendan Rodgers. Don't forget, full breakdown of Scottish football and whether it is good for the league that Hearts are challenging. Check out the talkSPORT daily podcast. Up next, Celtic legend Charlie Mulgrew will tell us whether Brendan Rodgers was actually creating a toxic atmosphere at the club.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend. Even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there actually any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads for a century. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. His Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this kind of protection was pretty important for footballers. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says they must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, even though there have been calls for it to be changed. But for now, that's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Good morning to you. It is 8:33, Tuesday, October the 28th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark at £750 of any used electric car or home charge. A lot of suggestions about Brendan Rodgers and where he might go to now that he's left Celtic, and a lot of people suggesting Brendan Rodgers to Southampton. And another, which has just come in, what about, this is Griffin, Kings Lynn, Brendan Rodgers to Birmingham City. They have high ambitions. It's not working out. Chris Davis is his number 2, which, of course, was the position that they used to have at one stage.
That's correct.
Certainly where Chris Davis worked as number 2 to Brendan Rodgers. And Tony says Celtic should leave Martin O'Neill in charge until the end of the season, take it from there. I think there's every chance they will do that.
Absolutely, that could happen.
Yeah. Carl says if Brendan Rodgers thinks he wasn't backed at Celtic, he should steer well clear of Wolves. We'll sell his best players for 50 million, then replace them with £10 million players year on year. It is the story of the morning. Brendan Rodgers resigning at Celtic after a rocky start to the season. Major shareholder Dermot Desmond released his own statement, far from complimentary for Rodgers. I quote, regrettably, his words and actions have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. What is Desmond talking about? Well, this is a clip from Brendan Rodgers' press conference last week.
I think the challenge from the summer now leading into here, where we, as I said, we lost a lot of firepower, a lot of goals out in the team, and there's no way you'll go into a race and be given the keys to a Honda Civic, and as you take off, say, I want you to drive it like a Ferrari. It's not going to happen. So until something changes, I have to find the solutions, because, like I said, goals, speed, everything has come out of the team, and we need to find a way to be better.
I mean, that's quoted everywhere, isn't it, at the moment?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the Honda Civic stroke Ferrari comparison. Was he wrong to say that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt he was wrong to say that. And I think, as Paul said, with Paul on earlier on there, Paul Lambert, I think, given hindsight, he'd probably regret saying that, because effectively, you can butter up any way you like, Jeff, but it's a really harsh assessment of his playing staff, which he's made public. So from that point of view, there's no way that can be a good thing. No way that can be. You might think it, but you can't say that. I don't think.
The man to replace Brendan Rodgers for the time being, at least, is the former Celtic boss Martin O'Neill. Martin was, of course, right here in the studio yesterday on White and Jordan. He had this to say on Hearts potentially winning the SPL.
This is it, because Celtic are at this minute not that physically strong, can actually lose games, whereas before that they looked invincible in matches. Rangers are no threat whatsoever, although the new manager coming in, I think, like you, Jim, I think he maybe can do something in time, but they are so far adrift, it's untrue. But this is the moment, this is the time now for Hearts. They've gone 8 points clear at this minute, and that is a decent enough lead, really. And their confidence is growing, and it will grow from that victory as well too. So all things are happening for Hearts. It's great. Whereas just at this minute, Celtic are just in a wee bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. This is the best time for any side outside the Old Firm to go and win.
Of course it is.
Yeah, well, of
course it is.
What an opportunity for them.
Oh, absolutely. And I know Hearts fans, will understand what I'm saying. Hearts are there in merit because at this moment in time they've been the best team in the league by a country distance. But they are without doubt been helped by the fact, it's not their problem, by the way, they can only play what's in front of them, but they are definitely been helped by the fact that it's as poor a Rangers and Celtic teams as we've seen in years.
Dave has texted, he said, Jeff Coisty, long balls, long throw-ins, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney at Celtic. I've woken up in 2003. I smell a deadline day move for Bobo Balde. Thank you very much indeed,
Bobo.
Let's get some more reaction to the changes at Parkhead with 5-time SPL champion with Celtic, Charlie Mulgrew. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. How you doing?
Well, in great form, mate. What about Big Bobo coming back? You fancy a bit of that?
The big man. Geez, what a defender he was.
Well, everyone's saying that Celtic lacked physicality, so he'd provide it, wouldn't he?
Well, he certainly would, man.
He would, aye. I'm not sure about playing out for the back, though. That's what Sean wants to play.
The big used to play the centre forward out for the back, Charlie.
He played with a bouncy ball, and the ball was too wee for him. What a defender, but what an athlete.
Oh, you better believe it. So listen, Charlie, obviously the news broke last night. I would suggest it's a surprise, but not a real shock. Looking at Martin's I beg your pardon, Brendan's body language and some of his comments recently, it's not that much of a shock, is it really?
I think the timing of it was a shock. I thought it might have went a wee bit longer. I thought on Thursday night against Doomgrat things looked a lot better, but the things that were said, Ali, with the Honda Civic, and by the way, I don't know what's up with a Honda Civic. I'd have loved a Honda Civic when I
that was my sponsored car at the Rangers.
So I was really surprised at the comments, and I think that you could just feel the energy. He was disillusioned, and you could see it on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, who's right and who's wrong here then, Charlie? I mean, fingers pointed at Brendan. Dermot Desmond saying that basically he approved every transfer in and out. Brendan basically reckoning he hasn't been supported over the course of the years. So who's in the right?
I don't know about right and wrong. I mean, I think there's definitely been a breakdown in communication. I don't think the transfer window was good enough. Everybody knows that, I think. I know Dermot's come out and said Brendan's got the final say on signings, so you just don't know the ins and outs of how the meetings went, what players were brought to Brendan, what players he didn't like, what players he refused to take when he could have maybe took them, and then how long the negotiations. So it's really hard to say, really, who's right and who's wrong. I just think the whole club as a whole, I thought something had to change. The changes came now, and it's about hopefully getting united behind everybody, and get behind Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, which everybody should do, and hopefully we can. Something had to change. Hearts are far too far in the lead, and things aren't been good enough.
What do you think, Charlie, though? I mean, we've mentioned Brendan's comments here, which I think, being honest, is a real slap in the face for the dressing room. I don't think it's advisable at all. But the flip side of the coin, I'm not sure, and I've got to say, Dermot Desmond is well within his rights, and in his position at Celtic to say what he thinks. 100% he is. But is it the right idea? I mean, what kind of message? I mean, should you be keeping that in-house?
Yeah, it sounds like he's angry to me. So it must have been a build-up over time and what's been said and what's been done, and standing back, not really saying anything, and then eventually having your chance to say something. There sounded like there was a bit of anger in that for Dermot. But listen, we talk about people maybe going in and being politicians and no saying anything. So for him to be completely honest and completely straight up with that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I think if that's what happened, then why shouldn't we hear that? Why shouldn't we hear what went on behind the scenes? And I'm sure in time Brendan Rodgers will have his say as well, and it'll be up to people to make up their minds on how they feel in the full situation. But listen, it is what it is. It came as a shock to me. I didn't see the statement coming out like that. But listen, it is what it is. Brendan Rodgers has now moved on, and as I say, we'll hear about what he's got to say soon. And I'm surprised at Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, though. I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see it at all. I mean, I'm not sure the last time Martin O'Neill was in management. He was a top manager, and he's got credentials that stand up with anybody's. And Sean Maloney is a good coach, but again, didn't see him get in there, and then it's confused on who's the manager and who's the assistant. It seems like a sort of joint role, so it'll be interesting to see how that works, because it seems like two people that kind of have different views on the game, so it could either work or it work together as a pair of two opposites come together, or it'll be, I don't know, we'll see. Time will tell. But interesting to see how that one works. I don't know if it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether they're given it. Obviously, it's an interim job at the moment. Whether Celtic take their time, make sure they get the right man, maybe give Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney until the end of the season. Is that what you see happening?
You think to the end of the season? I don't know. I mean, I think this week will be massive. If they go and win on Wednesday night and then they go and win the semi-final, then that's huge. Then you can say, right, end of the season. But if that doesn't happen, then people will start to say, right, Celtic fans will want to see somebody in the door that's ready to work towards next season and finish this season strongly and put a challenge up against Hearts if they're not going to be in the Cup.
Charlie, where are you? That doesn't look like Glasgow to me.
I'm going to say the weather up in Denison's looking good at the moment, Charlie.
I'm in Dubai right now, just ready to tee off on the Earth course, and
life's tough, mate.
I've got a Celtic Charity Foundation golf day over here all this week, so
I want to be you when I grow up, mate. I want to be you when I grow up. You're unbelievable, mate. If I ever grow up, that is.
Hey, Charlie, good luck with that. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks for joining us, pal. Enjoy your round.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers, bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. A lot of suggestions. Look, Greeno the Postie. Jeff, get Ali to give an opinion on Gary Caldwell being a candidate for Celtic.
He's done fine at
Exeter. Lives up north. Obviously he's done a terrific job at Exeter with the
certainly has.
In the league.
Certainly has, Gary. I know him, obviously, him and his brother Stephen very, very well. I think he's done a fabulous job down at Exeter.
Would he be a contender?
There's no reason why he shouldn't be. His name would definitely come into the equation if they're looking for somebody young, new ideas. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, it's interesting, the way they've gone, obviously, Martin, because I think that, I said it earlier, and I don't know whether you agree or not, I think it's a great move straight away for a bit of stability.
Yeah.
I'm with you, mate. I could see him staying there to the end of the season, and then it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and then it gives Celtic time to assess, what their requirements really are, rather than jumping headfirst into a permanent appointment. Okay, it is 8:44. Still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarx Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarx.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
Legend, much overused word in sporting terms, isn't it? But not in this case, because after 9 we're joined by a legend of British sport in the studio, the 5-time Olympic gold medalist Sir Bradley Wiggins will tell us all about his new book, The Chain, which I tell you is a pretty harrowing read. Up next, though, Phil Parkinson, Wrexham against Cardiff coming up in the Carabao Cup. Harky calls it a derby. Well, he's a Chorley lad, so he probably wouldn't know any better. It's 3.5 hours, and they haven't played since the early 90s, the early 2000s, I beg your pardon. At that time, the former Wrexham striker Lee Trundle was actually playing. We'll speak to him next. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
morning to you. It is 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock. We've got to apologise to Tom, or rather his sister, I think.
Oh, this is mad.
Jeff and Ali, the last news bulletin has nearly given my sister a heart attack. I'm dropping her to work this morning. She gets in the car, and the first thing she hears is, "The king is dead. Long live the king." She thought Wills was now in charge. Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. Our apologies to Tom's sister for that near heart attack there.
Very good.
Let's turn our attention back to live football. Big week of Carabao Cup action ahead of us. Standout ties include Grimsby against Brentford live on talkSPORT tonight. Arsenal against Brighton live on talkSPORT 2 tomorrow. Newcastle against Spurs. Newcastle are holders, of course. And all Welsh ties. Wrexham welcome Cardiff to North Wales. It's the first time since the early 2000s that Wrexham are meeting Cardiff after Wrexham's Hollywood star climbed to the second tier of English football. To give us more, let's bring in the former Wrexham striker, Lee Trundle. Morning, Lee.
Good morning, Lee.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Al.
Hey, Lee, look, it's not exactly Cardiff against Swansea, is it? So what's the rivalry like between Wrexham and Cardiff?
Yeah, it's not a massive rivalry, but obviously it's a Welsh derby, and with the game not being played for that many years, and what's been happening with Wrexham off the field as well in recent years, I think it's made for a bigger game, but one that everyone's looking forward to.
Tell me, Lee, and you touched on it there, mate. I mean, we've been following the Wrexham story, and for us, it's been a great story, and it's news and all that stuff. But I don't care what anybody says, and you'll know, you've been in dressing rooms where all of a sudden you're playing against a team like Wrexham. You know, have you sensed any kind of, as I say, it's been a great story for us, but have you sensed any kind of resentment in Wales at all?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think there's been massive resentment. I think if you're a football fan, everyone would want them owners that are at Wrexham. You know, they've done brilliant, not only for the football team, the way they've climbed through the leagues, they've done a lot in the community as well, and in Wrexham itself to help people. And I think from outside, people will always look at that and be a bit envious. So, you know, I think that is the jealousy side. And when teams play against them, you know that they're a team that everyone wants to beat as well. And I think in tonight's game, that'll be no different, with Cardiff obviously dropping out of the Championship, going down to League One. Wrexham have leapfrogged them. So there's a little bit more needle in the game as well.
Yeah, it's not just jealousy in Wales over Wrexham.
No, I
jealousy
know.
nationwide.
I get it.
Honest, I'll tell you what, with the owners as well, I get the feeling that the Wrexham owners would fancy a place in the quarterfinals. So, you know, I get the feeling that with their story, they would actually fancy a place at Wembley in the final, which is, it's not so daft. It's only like 3 games away.
Well, especially when you get to this stage as well, you know, anything can happen with it. So I think they will definitely be looking at that. And I think with it being an all-Welsh tie as well, that's something, especially with their social media side, you know, they're very clever on that side with the way they market the club. So it's a big night for everyone.
Yeah.
Tell me, Lee, I want to ask you, I mean, getting away from it, with a fellow on yesterday, and you'll have heard the story, a 50-year-old who scored a goal at the weekend, and that's him scored in every top 10 divisions, right, Jamie? It's an incredible story, mate. And the reason I'm asking you or pointing out to you, because you look to me to one of these guys that will still play the game somewhere at some level. Now, you can shoot me down, but do you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I still play in I'm in the 3rd tier of the Welsh League, playing in that now. On a Sunday, I'll play for the over 40s, one weekend the over 45s with the vets. So I still play all the time. And funnily enough, me and Jamie Keaton, we played in the same England vets team that went out to Thailand and won the World Cup out there. So
Brilliant.
I was pleased for him to see him score that on the weekend.
Did you see the goal?
Yeah, great goal.
Yeah, it was a fantastic goal, wasn't it? But, you know, hey, look, back to the current day. I tell you, this is a heck of a week for Wrexham, because they haven't just got this.
Yeah.
Then on Friday night, they've got Coventry, top of the table. I mean, look, Wrexham fans, they're living the dream, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I think it was always going to be when they get to the Championship that it was going to probably, you know, level out a little bit, because the difference in standard from League 2 and League 1 to the Championship is a big gap. But, you know, they've signed really well in the summer. You know, they look as though they're getting used to the league now. And as you say, with these big games coming up, as a player, you know, they're the ones that you want to play in, especially some of them lads that have been on the journey for a long time. You know, to get where they are now, Wrexham building the new stand behind the Kop, and everything's coming together for them, and the club is in a good place.
I think it's a brilliant story, but I think you're spot on with your assessment there, mate, because I think they were always going to find their level where they would maybe stay for a bit of luck, they'll stay for maybe 2 or 3, 4 seasons and then potentially go again. And I think the level is where they are right now.
Yeah, definitely. And as you say, Al, you know, if you look at you know, the quality of players in there, you know, the money that teams spend, you know, Wrexham were coming into it, even though they have spent really well in the summer, you know, they had to do that to even just try and compete with these other teams that are in there. And I'm sure that that's their thing, to try and stay in that league for a couple of years, you know, build themselves up and then try and have a push for the Premier League, because everything they've done up to now off the field has been perfect.
Yeah, they've done an absolutely brilliant
Tremendous job.
Cardiff just having a little wobble at the moment, Lee. As an ex-Swansea man, you wouldn't be enjoying that at all, would you?
No, I don't like to see that. You know, everyone in Wales got to stick together. But no, listen, fair enough to them. They've done really well this season. You know, they're at the top of the table. And, you know, I was one to gloat a little bit, because I do get a little bit of stick off their fans. So when they went down, but, you know, I am missing the proper derby game, you know, the Swans v Cardiff, you won't beat that. Obviously, Ali's played in the Celtic Rangers one, which is a massive one. And, you know, the Swansea Cardiff one has got that needle to it as well. And it's a game, when it's not there, you do miss it.
Oh, I've been to it, mate. I've been to it. You know, you talk about the big derby.
Brilliant.
And the feeling around that game, it's something special, you know?
That's great,
Lee, thanks very much.
Great to see you, mate. All the best.
Thanks a lot, boys. See you soon.
Take care.
Former Wrexham striker Lee Trundle. I mentioned
I knew he'd be playing.
Oh, yeah. I knew he was playing, yeah.
I didn't right enough, so.
When he looks as fit as a fiddle, doesn't he?
Of course he does.
Looks as fit as a fiddle. Cardiff, I mentioned Little Wobble, they're second in League
think
One now. You know why they're second? Because Stockport won last night.
3-0, Port Vale.
On top of League One, they won 3-0 at Port Vale. Yeah. My cat, Dave Challoner, he is like the cat that's got
tremendous.
Tremendous. He's named after Dave Challoner. Yeah. You know,
tremendous though, isn't it great?
Brilliant. Well, they've won 3 on the bounce. Dave Challoner's record, I don't embarrass him, but I will. Dave Challoner's record in terms of getting promotions is
wonderful,
second to none. It is astonishing. Can he do it again?
Why not?
Stockport full of Wrexham into the Championship.
Why not?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me. Coming up, we move from Wales back to Scotland. 03717 223344. Celtic fans, is Brendan Rodgers leaving a good thing for your club? And Hearts fans, how happy are you after this news? We want to hear from you next.
Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Grimsby via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Grimsby's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The Sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League, as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players. The attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
Good morning, 4 minutes past 9 o'clock, Tuesday, October the 28th. Welcome along to the final hour of talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me through until 10 o'clock. Also still to come between now and then.
What I know we've got, pal.
None other than the 5-time Olympic gold medal winner, Tour de France winner as well, World Championship winner, Sir Bradley Wiggins. He'll be live in the studio to discuss his amazing career, but also his pre- and post-retirement struggles, which he's documented in an astonishing book called The Chain. That's coming up in just about 15 minutes' time. Don't go away. But now it's all change at Celtic this morning. Brendan Rodgers has gone.
Brendan Rodgers warned the board they had to invest in the team at the start of this season. Celtic's worst European result in their modern history.
And there's no way you'll go into a race and be given the keys to a Honda Civic. I want you to drive it like a Ferrari. It's not going to happen.
I think Brendan's a very capable operator, but Brendan Rodgers is always and has forever been in the Brendan Rodgers business. And so now it no longer suits him to be at Celtic because he can't get precisely what he wants. And so I'm sure we'll see the back of Brendan somewhere during the course of this season.
Celtic needed that win, but Sturm Graz, I would honestly say, are one of the worst sides I've ever seen coming to Parkhead in the European time.
Is that right?
We weren't quite the Ferrari, but we're Range Rover Sport, I'll go for.
And it's finished at Tynecastle. Hearts 3, Celtic 1. Go 8 points clear
over Celtic.
I can't be any more motivated to turn it around because it's okay when you're winning trophies.
Brendan Rodgers is leaving Celtic.
Just at this minute, Celtic are just in a wee bit of trouble. This is the best time for any side outside the Old Firm to go and win.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers resigning as Celtic manager last night, but that was just the start of it, really, because Dermot Desmond, the major shareholder of Celtic, he's not the majority shareholder, but he is the major shareholder, released a jaw-dropping statement minutes after announcing Rodgers' department, accusing him of being divisive, misleading, and of self-serving behaviour. Desmond went on to say regarding Rodgers' behaviour, he said he has contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fuelled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and at their families has been entirely unwarranted and unacceptable. Do you think those comments were the cause of that toxic relationship between the board and the fans? Surely it was performances on the pitch that were responsible for that.
100%. 100%. Listen, I get he's upset, and Brendan probably didn't help matters with some of his comments, but to blame Brendan for some of the comments directed, some of the diabolical comments directed to board members and people like that, which is totally unwarranted and out of order, basically, to blame Brendan for that, I think's wrong.
Yeah. So Brendan's gone. talkSPORT's very own Martin O'Neill has been placed in interim charge. Martin gave his thoughts on Rodgers' comments that Desmond considered toxic.
I've made a lot of big statements in my time. I've come to regret loads of them, probably all of them. But I don't think you should be saying that this minute, And I'm not one to be giving advice to managers and that. But
tell me why.
Well,
why shouldn't you say that?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got an owner here who has had managers himself, some he's liked and some he hasn't liked. And I don't think, and I'm not even going to speak for Simon, he might totally disagree, but if someone is saying a manager's making that comment, you feel as if it's actually directed at you and that you have not given him the tools to go and do what he's to do. Now, we all feel like this as managers, that's right. And owners feel differently. They feel as if, I haven't given them and they hasn't blinked and well done the job.
Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney in interim charge. Look, it's the events have definitely divided the Celtic support. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Absolutely.
03717 223344. Let's head to those phone lines and speak to Stephen, the Celtic fan. Morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Stephen.
Hello, boys. I've not heard anybody really mention this, but what do you think? I think somebody that's doing a great job. We Celtic connection, with probably the same standard of players, League One, Championship. What do you think of Craig Bellamy, Ali?
Do you know something? If we were having this conversation a couple of years ago, I'd have thought, no way, right? I really would have. But
same here.
But see, listen to him, Stephen. See, listen to him now and watching him. And the way he handles it, and the way he talks about the game, and clearly his love for the game and desire to do well. I don't think that'd be daft at all, Stephen. I'll throw another one at you that hasn't had much you mentioned, and it would come from left field as well. What about Damien? Would Damien Duff interest you?
Has he not just recently lost a job?
Well, I thought I might be wrong. I thought he won the league over by, to be honest with you. But I know he's been pretty successful recently, and I'm looking at guys who obviously get mentioned. It was Gary Caldwell's name get thrown into the equation as well. From where I'm sitting, I think it would make sense for Martin to stay there till at least the end of the season to see, reassess the situation.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Regarding Craig, obviously, we'd want to find out if Wales get to the World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing with him, because if he goes to the World Cup with Wales, he's going to be away for the whole summer. There'll be no preparation, and I think that would probably rule him out. Stephen, thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephen.
Let's hear from a Rangers fan, who is Richard. He wants to talk about Brendan Rodgers wanting to leave. Well, I mean, Richard, you must be ecstatic, aren't you?
Morning, Richard.
Hi. Morning, guys. Nice to speak to you again.
What do you make of it all then, Richard?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, right, Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic manager. Celtic are a massive club, and it pains you to say as a Rangers fan. But don't you just think that his motivation has maybe just deteriorated? Because, I mean, he's won the league the last couple of years, fair play and all that stuff, right? But don't you just think it's now a chance for Scottish football to pay attention to this? Because it's absolutely boring to play a team 4 times a season. And it's just monotonous. So I just think that it's now time that the Scottish SFA should start considering, there's 5 or 6 teams in that championship team could easily come up and just make the league a bit more competitive.
Do you know what I did?
Who wants to play 4 times a season? It's boring.
Do you know what I did, Richard, actually? On a wee look the other day, and I looked at the top 18 teams all the way down, and I think it went down to Wraith Rovers. And for the first time in a long time, I kind of thought it looked as though it made sense a little bit. Top 18 teams play each other twice, whatever it may be. I'm not sure they will, Richard, but I, for one, would not rule that out as a bad idea.
Yeah, and Richard, I'm dead with you as a complete neutral.
Yeah.
It seems to me when you bring cup competitions in as well, inevitably they get to finals or semi-finals. And they seem to play each other almost every other week. It's crazy. Richard, thank you very much indeed. Celtic fans, divided. What do Hearts fans think? Andrew's given us a call. Morning, Andrew.
Morning, Andrew.
Morning, how you getting on?
We're doing well, mate. How about you? Never mind how we're doing. You must be flying, pal.
I'm top of the Fox rate, top of the league. Absolutely.
What did you think about the game at the weekend? And before you answer that, the one thing I said to Jeff, Andrew, I was asking the question, if you're and you'll be the man to answer it, if you're a Hearts supporter right now, which clearly you are, what do you think of the news coming from Celtic Park?
I think it's a tactic to derail the Hearts train. And what you asked me what I thought of the game on Sunday, I must admit I thought it was a bit boring after 60 minutes. I turned it off, put the EastEnders omnibus on. It was foregone conclusion, Ken. But the news coming from Celtic Park, it's all a bit, seems like a bit of a tactic to derail the train. Nobody's interested in Celtic this season. It's all about Hart McLaughlin and Derek McInnes.
Will it derail the train?
No, it will not derail the train. The 40 million that they'll desperately spend in January might try and derail the train. But Brendan Rodgers, we've sent him packing before when he had the 69 unbeaten game run and came to Tynecastle and got put to the sword. Now he's just came back to Tynecastle and put to the sword again. Ta-ta, see you later.
Yeah. Andrew, you enjoy the moment, mate. Well done. Thanks for the call, pal. Brilliant.
Isn't that magic?
Yeah. Lots of suggestions. That's absolutely brilliant. Why we keep saying it, don't we? What an opportunity. Hearts win at the weekend. They go 11 points clear of Celtic, who play a League Cup semi-final against Rangers. What a game that's going to be, by the way, as well. Goodness me, with events that have gone on. Text here, Celtic need to go and be progressive now, not go backwards. Someone like Knutson at Bodo Glimt would be a great appointment. Well, interesting.
It is interesting. And I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't got a job somewhere yet. Because he's done a phenomenal job at Bodo Glimt. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Not a bit surprised. Somebody will take a gamble.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Craig Bellamy. I know one or two people, and I know he figures in the betting as well. But if Wales don't get to the World Cup finals, he would be a shout, but not if they do. Text here saying, lads, can you talk about Manchester United? I've had to listen to 13 years of negativity. We finally won 3 games in a row and nothing. Radio silence. Weren't up early enough, young man or young woman, whoever you were. But I tell you what, if you want to catch the talkSPORT Daily podcast, you will find that
plenty on it.
We will talk about it at length tomorrow. So 15 or 20 minutes purely on Manchester United and whether they have turned a corner or whether it's just a flash in the pan, whether they will go on to finish in top 4 or whether eventually the manager will go the same way as Eric Ten Hag. It's all in that talkSPORT Daily podcast tomorrow morning. On the Celtic event, you'll hear an exclusive interview with Martin O'Neill from 10 a.m. Jim White's interviewed Martin following the appointment. And for more on the state of Scottish football, check out today's talkSPORT Daily podcast. Up next, we're joined by a true sporting legend. Sir Bradley Wiggins is with us next. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me, and joining us now, a British sporting icon.
Great Britain take the gold medal, but what a race it is, a new world record time, and they've elevated Bradley Wiggins to the very top of the tree. What a ride.
The BBC Sports Personality of the Year of 2012 is Bradley Wiggins.
I went to Summerfield last week with my son and bought a pint of milk and a loaf of bread, and I got a photograph coming out there, and it's just so much has changed.
Wiggins comes all the way home now. This is going to be the time of the day. The stage victory will be for him, his first ever in the Tour de France.
I'm incredibly proud of everything I did in cycling. Being at the Olympic Games and winning the Tour de France, it's only now that I really realise just what we all achieved.
Attempting to create history as the greatest ever British Olympian, the Tour de France champion. What an effort by Bradley Wiggins. A fourth gold medal at the Olympic Games, and he surpasses Sir Stephen Redgrave as Britain's greatest Olympian.
Where it stood at the end of my career, having achieved everything else in the Tour de France, coming back to the track and getting up and doing the world record at 36 with those guys. Perhaps the fairy tale ending, as it were.
Yeah, he became the first British winner of the Tour de France. He's the only rider to win the Tour de France and Olympic gold in the same year, winning them a week apart in 2012, when, of course, the Olympics were in London. He won a gold medal at 4 successive Olympics from 2004 to 2016. He held a record as Great Britain's most decorated Olympian with 8 medals, and Jason Kenny won his 9th in 2021. He remains the only rider in history to have won both world and Olympic titles on the track and the road. The one and only Sir Bradley Wiggins is with us right here in the studio. Morning to you, Brad.
Morning. Thank
How
you.
are you, mate? Good form?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm a fan of the show.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, the first thing I'd like to say is, when you hear Jeff read that out, right, does it actually sink in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of time the last 9 years since I retired to look back and have some perspective on that whole thing. But there was a period, as I've said about openly in my book, that I was, wished a lot of that hadn't happened. I'd blame cycling for lots of things in my life. But now I can honestly sit here now and say I'm proud of my achievements, and I'm proud of the application, the process of what it took to get there. But no, I'm a fan of the sport at heart. I was a fan when I was a kid. That's how I got into cycling, and I knew what I was accomplishing every time I won a certain race, particularly the Tour de France, because it's such a historic, legendary thing. But yeah, I am Mally.
I mean, obviously, you've got your book out, The Chain. Now, I have to tell you, if anybody's expecting just a sort of sporting autobiography, then this is not it. Because it's harrowing, warts and all, isn't it? Stories of sexual abuse and of cocaine and so on and so forth. I mean, the first question from me really is, how are you now?
I'm very well. I've the last 18 months I've been in recovery, and I'm in the best place I've been for a long, long time. And part of that is accepting all the things that I perhaps buried for many years, that cycling was a distraction for, particularly elite sport, and the amount of effort and training that goes in, and I think in not accepting that and not being open about it and never telling anyone about certain issues that were in the book, your ego takes over when you're an elite athlete, and particularly on top of your game. And yeah, it wasn't until 36 that I retired, and these things sort of hit me like a brick wall, really, and one of them is the murder of my father as well, who left home when I was a youngster, and of course I met him in my late teens, who was a professional cyclist himself, which is why I got into it. So there was lots of things that cycling became a great distraction for at the time, and so yeah, I'm in a great place now, Jeff.
What's I mean? That's first of all, that's so good to hear. That's brilliant to hear. But I'll not put this down. I can tell you that right now. I can guarantee. But I'm looking at one of the bits in the back page there. It says that the disguises have gone. I've made peace with myself. There's a quote there. I find that quote absolutely fascinating. So it sounds very much to me, and tell me if I'm wrong reading into that. It's as if, I wouldn't say you were living a lie. I wouldn't say that. But at what point did you realise you could now become you, the real you?
Well, I was living a lie for many years. The person who stood up at Sports Personality and accepted the award with a late 70s dandy David Bowie suit on, mod rock and roll hairstyle. 2 nights after that, I was playing at the Hammersmith Polo with Paul Weller, jam songs on stage. I created this perception of myself
because of my insecurity and my self-worth and the shame that was attached to me from the things that had happened in childhood. And the more famous I got, or the more celebrity I got from the more success I had, that, that amplified the eccentricity of me. And so I kind of latched onto something that, I perceived as cool to kind of get by because of what I felt about myself. And then when I retired, and then my drug use and things like that, and I can't say it was a coping mechanism or whatever it was that led me down that path into addiction, the self-hatred that followed, the shame came to the surface. And I was living a lie, not only as a cyclist because of what I'd hidden from childhood, being sexually abused by a 72-year-old man for 3 years, my first coach, that emasculated me incredibly. And so after that, during my career, there was no way I was ever going to come out with that. So, winning Olympic Games, winning the Tour de France, and then I'd have to step off the bike and be Bradley. Bradley wasn't enough, so I created a sort of perception of myself, and I played a character and hid under this veil. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, at one stage, we mentioned the Olympic Games and so on and so forth. Oh, yeah, the sun were giving away. Bradley Wiggins sideburns.
Yeah.
You were one of the most famous sportsmen in the world at the time.
Well, maybe the country. I don't know about the world. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Cycling's an international.
Yeah.
So was that part of the descent into drug use then?
Not at that time. I mean, I continued for another 4 years after that. Right. Within 3 years of retirement, I was a drug addict. And my problems got worse. I sort of was drifting into bankruptcy. I came and worked here for a bit. And I never found something that gave me the same amount of escapism, probably is the word. I wouldn't say satisfaction, but escapism from my past and my demons. And so I had more time to think, more time to, to get up to mischief and kind of spiral. So it was. And it's only now with hindsight that I look back on this, as I've been working on myself and dealing with, getting rid of the ego and getting rid of the veil and also being transparent about the things that have happened to me. And that's been a great release of the shame that I've lived with for so many years.
Because one of the worst things to read in the book is when you talk about the fact that, your son expected they would find you dead one day.
Yes. Well, that was when it started getting really bad, and... I mean, it was when you're in the belly of addiction. You don't see the hurt you're causing to people around you, and you live a very selfish existence. I was a functioning addict in many ways because I would go to work, and the bits of work I did have, I would manage to get through. But the minute the work was over, I would isolate, and. Yeah, it was just a horrible time, really. But my kids were well aware of it. I couldn't hide it from them, and they were very supportive. And, it got to a point where only have I found out in recent years or since I've been in recovery, just the extent of the pain that I put them through, Do
you think, Bradley, it's amazing listening to you, do you think, taking your situation, do you think there's enough done or there's enough places to go for top elite sports people when all of a sudden the door's closed?
Yeah,
and you're
maybe not, Ali. But one thing I realise now is we're all grown adults, and I do think we have a responsibility to ourselves to be responsible.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there should necessarily be a natural fallback for athletes who retire, that have had everything done for them their whole lives, that... it's very easy as an elite athlete when you finish, especially if you're good, to have an element of entitlement and expect there still to be an income and expect there still to be the praise and the worship. But one thing I would say to myself, looking back, is, get yourself together, take responsibility for your life, take responsibility for your responsibilities, and work on yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And it's the same when you're in addiction. You have to want to get out of it. You have to want to get better yourself. No one can do it for you. And I think now that is...
What made you want to get better? What set you on the path to...
I was getting sick of being the version of myself that I was. And I knew I was heading for an early grave, And I knew I was better than that. I think I knew that You know, I'd spent 20 years as Olympic champion. I'd spent 5 Olympic cycles going through that 4-year cycle of application, setting a goal setting, dealing with disappointments, getting up each day and working towards an objective. And I found myself at my darkest moments looking back going, what have you become? Looking myself in the mirror, thinking, who are you? You're not even being a model parent right now. And I think it was that really. And I was also, as is detailed in the book, becoming more and more like my dad and ending up more and more like my dad was found in a ditch in 2008 after a blow to the head. His life had fallen off the rails. He'd been in and out of prison, he'd a heavy drinker, recreational drugs. He was a professional cyclist. He was a world champion. And, in all this kind of wallowing in self-pity as I was doing, that I don't want to ever become like my dad, don't want to ever become I was heading exactly the same direction as him. So, at some point I had to get myself together.
Brad, you're going to stay with us for a while. I think when we come back, let's talk about some of the triumphs, shall we? So more from Sir Bradley Wiggins in a couple of minutes. Good morning, 9:33. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. We're still joined right here in the studio by a legend of British sports, Sir Bradley Wiggins, whose book, The Chain, is out right now. And obviously, Brad, we listed all of the triumphs during that spectacular career. Anything stand out? Was it the Tour de France that gave you the most satisfaction? Gold?
I think London 2012. Yeah, London 2012 will always be, that was my defining moment in many ways. And to win it 10 days after winning the Tour de France.
That's some going.
And to come back to London. I mean, I grew up on an estate 2 miles from here in Kilburn, and, trying to get out of an estate in the early 90s wearing Lycra was quite a thing, because cycling wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
And the clothing isn't what it is now, and it wasn't space age, and we didn't have, people like Sir Chris Hoy and Mark Cavendish and people that have made the sport cool. And but nonetheless, cycling was an escapism for me to get out of that area that I lived in, and I was incredibly ambitious, and cycling was an escapism for me, as I say. But I look back now that London 2012, 20 years on from 1992 and trying to get out of an estate wearing Lycra, I'm riding around the streets of London to a gold medal in front of millions of people.
Tell me about that, Bradley, because I remember that as if it was yesterday. I remember sitting watching that, and everybody talks about, Super Saturday, and Super Saturday is fantastic, the Olympics, no doubt about it. But that time trial will be with me at my dying day. What's going through your head? I mean, is it just total concentration? Is it just you pushing yourself to the limit?
Yeah, I mean, you just get into the individual time trial is really an event about getting into your own mind, and it's the execution of your effort and power over a 40 kilometres, so it's 50 minutes long. So obviously it's not something you can go out and empty yourself in the first 10 minutes. You've got to ride a line that is we call it threshold line. And it's got to be something that is you're able to sustain from A to B, that you don't die off at the end, but that is all you've got. You couldn't sustain it for one more minute at the end. So it's something that, not everyone can do. It's what makes you better than other people in a time trial discipline, but it's also a mental thing as well. The way we approach that is not going out and looking at the whole 50 minutes in its entirety, a bit like a 400-metre runner. They don't look at the whole 400 metres in its entirety because it's off-putting. So we focus on the first 13 kilometres, which is about 8-9 miles, and then break that once we've gone through. Think about the second, which we've reconned those sections in the days before, and then you go through the second section. You do about the third 13 kilometres. So it's breaking the course down, putting each piece together, and executing it, and really taking all the emotion away from it. Thinking, hearing time checks that you're 20 seconds up, you're 25 seconds up, and you don't think, right, I'm going to win Olympic gold here. This is my moment. It's just taking all the emotion away from it, which takes the emotion away when you've finished as well, because it's thrust upon you in that moment. And of course, then you're expected to, sit in a throne and in a bank full of press. And of course, I do the sort of Winston Churchill thing. And, I had to step back into being Bradley the minute I stepped off the bike. I could execute Olympic finals. I was never comfortable in my own skin when I had to face the press and that, which is, as I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as you said, a few days before that, you won the Tour de France. Now you like lots of sports and the such like. So you look at the Tour de France. Is that the single most difficult event to win in world sport?
I wouldn't say world
most
sport.
Grueling.
I think it's up there, and probably because of the distance and the time it takes. 3 weeks. You do anything for 3 weeks, day in, day out. There's so much that could go wrong. It's all based on time, of course. There are enough days if you lose 2 minutes one day due to a crash or a puncture that you can make that time up, but it's very, very difficult. You're still dealing with very small margins. And, you're racing up mountains for 1 hour at a time. If you're 1 kilo heavier than you normally are, if you've come in heavy for the race, that 1 kilo over every 1 hour climb over 3 weeks will equate to minutes. So there's so many factors that have to go right, and so many you got enough time to get ill in a 3 week race, especially when you're such low body fat. You're open and prone to getting illness, and then you're avoiding the other 840, 50 bike riders in the race, coming into finishes and crashing, and there's a lot that needs to go right for you to be able to win, and that's where your 8 other teammates come in.
Yeah,
and of course I had a fantastic team that year. There's 2 or 3 guys in my team that could have also won the race, and I was blessed to have, of course, the British world champion at the time in Mark Cavendish with me.
Well, I was going to... You brought him up yourself. I mean, what is it in the last, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it may be, with British cycling, British cyclists? You mentioned Mark Cavendish, who's an absolute hero. Chris Hoy, absolute hero of the Kennedys. What is it that we've unearthed that, or we did unearth that talent?
Well, I think lottery funding has a lot to do with it. And lottery funding came in 1997. It allowed our athletes to go professional and not have to have jobs outside of the sport. So they were paid a wage. We also had a world-class facility in Manchester Velodrome that was built. We now have one in London, of course, that was built for the Olympic Games. And British Cycling based themselves in that building, and it became a centre of excellence for all the cyclists around the country to come and congregate in one place, live in the area, train in the area, be paid on a daily basis. So they didn't, and it just grew from there. We also had a great crop of athletes that started in that period in the late 90s. Of course, we had myself, Mark Cavendish, Sir Chris Hoy, Victoria Pendleton. Yes. And when you've got great athletes and good coaches and a good system in place, a winning mentality, we went on.
Who did you look up to?
Well, when I was a kid, so when I was 12, I watched Chris Boorman win the Olympic Games on the Lotus bike.
Yeah, remember that.
And I'm there in Kilburn and watching Chris Boorman ride around on a space-age bicycle, which became front page news the next day. And I thought I'd love to do that. You know, it was easy to follow. It was one guy races another guy on the other side of the track. Chris caught his opponent in 3.5 minutes. And that was what set it off for me, really. Yeah.
Look, there's so much love for you from people who are texting in. Brad Allen Little says, hi lads, respect to Sir Bradley for being so honest and open. Love Bradley since seeing him in his mod cycling attire. Just one quick question. What's your favourite Jam song?
My English Rose, actually. It's an obscure one.
Yeah. Is that off in the set of all mod coins?
You tell me, Ali.
It might be all mod coins, I think. Yeah. First band I ever saw live.
Really?
The Jam.
Wow.
Where, the Barrowlands?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, there you
Absolutely,
go.
man.
Thomas says, just want to say, heartbreaking hearing Bradley talk, but it's really made me think I need to sort my own life out and deal with my childhood trauma that I've buried for years. I'm going to call doctors today and get some help.
Oh,
Cheers.
good man.
So
good on you.
So that's great. And you mentioned Chris Boardman. Michael Long said Chris Boardman, one of the great reasons why British cycling is where it is now. So what you love your sport, don't you? Do you get sport these days? You're a football fan, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, before COVID, me and my son used to go to every European Liverpool away leg.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow.
But my son's now following in my footsteps.
He's a cyclist.
He's a cyclist, hoping to get selected.
He's doing really well, isn't he?
He was world champion a few years ago. He's now hoping to get selected for the LA Olympics. So he's kind of, life's got busier. I'm living down here now, and we haven't been to a game for a long time.
Yeah.
Is there anything? It's brilliant, as I said. You look and sound in a fantastic place, Bradley, which is great, and you maybe don't miss anything. But is there anything you miss? Do you miss the competition? Do you miss the fitness? Do you miss the routine? Is there anything you miss?
I mean, I train every day still now, like a professional athlete. It's the only thing that's served me well in my life.
Yeah.
Is training.
What would that involve?
Well, I mean, I make the training of the day my priority, you know, and everything that goes around that, the eating, and I'm already thinking about tomorrow and what I'm going to do tomorrow and where I'm going to fit that training in around work and stuff. But obviously, it's a little bit different. I have to keep, that in mind to when I was training. But I don't miss anything about professional or elite sport, because the version of myself that I had to become to do that and cope with it and on a daily basis, it's just, it's not a healthy existence, or it wasn't for me anyway, because it didn't set me up for normal life when I retired.
But are you ever able now to reflect on the pleasure you gave to millions
absolutely
of people?
Well, yeah, I meet people every day, at least one a day, that come up and feel the need to tell me how much they remember a certain race or a certain event and what it did for them, and that is an incredible thing to have,
Well, it is. I mean, genuinely. Myself, you've got me looking at a television screen screaming. I mean, that must have when you think about that, and I'm amongst millions up and down the country sitting watching that television.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is incredible, and yeah, I mean, I struggled a long time to deal with that. I always struggled with taking praise and things like that, and obviously that goes back to what I was saying earlier about my own worth issues and stuff that I had. But now I can look back at it and not seeing it as bolstering my ego in wanting that or receiving that praise or that kind of adulation. But now I can see it for what it is. And I give whoever it is that person time of my day and thank them, because it means a lot to me. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, we see a lot of people in here, but we were both buzzing at the prospect of you coming in.
I was looking at that.
I mean, I look at everything that you've been through and things we haven't touched on, bankruptcy, homelessness and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, how do you assess the sort of hand you've been dealt in life?
I never look at it like that. In some ways, the reason I'm sat here today with you two, talking about this book so candidly about it, for honest account, raw, is because of all the things that have happened to me. And had those things not happened to me, I perhaps wouldn't be where I am in life, talking about my successes and things. So, if I'm going to talk about my successes, I also talk about my failures in life as well.
Yeah.
And so I look at it in a positive sense now. I'm grateful for the hand I was dealt, because I wouldn't be the person I am today. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have got to where I am today, not just my career, but,
as a person.
Coming through addiction.
Yeah.
And opening myself up and taking accountability for the pain I've caused people and the mistakes I've made in life, and continue to want to be a better version of myself.
Seeing where you are today, do you look forward in terms of what planning for maybe next week or the week after, or is it every day, each day at a time?
No, I mean, I've my main priority at the moment is to be a good partner, a good parent, and continue working on myself. I was in AA twice last week. I'll try and make that a priority during a week at some point. I'm off to a one-on-one intensive counselling therapy, trauma therapy specialist in Utah in America next week for 4 days. So it's things I've never addressed before, things I've always been scared to address, and just continuing enjoying, having this moment.
Kevin in Newry says, Mr. Wiggins saying adults are accountable to themselves is so refreshing. Great to hear. All the best. Jimmy says, Brad used to rock up at a local 10-mile time trials like the Rainford 10. It was great to have a champion racing against us mere mortals. The Barnes Cycling Club, all at Barnes Cycling Club, says, say thank you to Bradley for all the great memories. And Darren S. says, legend and inspiration, and not just because of sport.
And just a final one. You've done this and done that and done the next thing. Have you done those hills in Wicklow, just outside Dublin, man?
I have.
Brad.
Yeah.
They just about finished me.
Yeah. Well, some of the hills around Glasgow. I used to race quite a lot as a junior around Glasgow.
Yeah.
And the weather, of course, there.
Correct.
Yeah, we did the Commonwealth Games there as well, and that rained.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Look,
thank you, guys.
Brad, it's brilliant.
No, thank you
to
for
have you
giving me a
Absolutely
platform.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
And the best luck in the future,
Yeah,
mate.
thank you.
Here.
Sure.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Sir Bradley Wiggins' book, The Chain, is out right now. Do go along and get it as you possibly can. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Morning. Amazing, wasn't it? Sir Bradley Wiggins.
Incredible.
So open about his amazing and often traumatic life. 9:48. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist. Just a few minutes to go. Now, the story of the morning, of course, Celtic and Brendan Rodgers parting ways. Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney going in as interim bosses. And Jim White has a fantastic interview to bring you from 10. And Jim joins us right now. Morning, Jim.
Tell us, Jeff. Good morning. Good morning, Ali. I have to say, Sir Bradley Wiggins, absolutely absolutely superb, Ali.
Absolutely fantastic.
Really enjoyed listening to him. Yeah, yesterday we come off air, Jeff. As usual, Martin and I are engaging a bit of leg pulling with Martin Keown, and everybody goes their separate ways. And then what do you know? Boom. The bomb drops later on in the day, and it's all going off at Celtic. A remarkable chain of events. Brendan Rodgers resigns, and the call came in to Martin O'Neill. Would you be interested in coming back on an interim basis? So 20 years on, Jeff, Martin O'Neill right now is about to board a flight and fly back up to Glasgow and return to Celtic. Now, we've got the full interview coming up. I'll be on with Alex Crook and Steve Bruce from 10. But here's just a taster of it. I said to Martin just moments ago, so you're heading back. How did it come about?
I got a call late afternoon, early evening yesterday from Celtic, from Dermot Desmond, and Dermot asking me would I step in because Brendan had resigned from the football club. It's obviously the kind of shock news, really, as much as anything else. Shocked me as well too, but just to step into the breach and just do it on a short-term basis until a permanent manager is appointed.
And it's as simple as that, Jeff. I don't think it came as a question. Are you happy to come back? It was that you are coming back, Martin.
So it makes sense, Jim.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, I was going to call him a safe pair of hands. He's far better than that, Martin. He'd be quick one to tell me he's a lot better than a safe pair of hands, and he is. But he knows the club, and they're looking a little bit like Rangers. They're just looking for a bit of stability, I think. You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, it's incredible. He's pitched right into it, Jeff. It's Falkirk tomorrow night in the Scottish Premiership. And then, Ali, the small matter of a League Cup semi-final against Rangers at Hampden. I mean, who would have thought it? Martin O'Neill Celtic going in against Danny Roll's Rangers. I mean, this is what happens, isn't it?
The great thing about that, Jimmy, he's so matter-of-fact about it. Yeah. He is just so matter-of-fact, you know, so unsurprised by it all. Yeah. Brilliant. Look forward to hearing the rest of it, Jim.
Smashing, Jim. If we get it all, mate.
Jim White, Steve Bruce and Alex Crook with you from 10. Fantastic. All right, it's time now for this.
Get ready with November on talkSPORT. The Moustache is calling. Grow and mow, raise funds, save lives. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Yeah, every day this week we're looking at iconic moustaches and some terrible tashes as well in football to build our Ultimate 11 squad. All thanks to Movember. We've already decided that Neville Southall is our goalkeeper. Today we're building the defence. And first on the list is a good mate of mine. Now, look, we're just going to move him back a bit because really he's a sort of tough tackling, holding midfielder. But in my team, the heart of my defence is Chris Kamara, because that tash is absolutely iconic. You know, you go worldwide and everybody will recognise the tash.
Don't have a problem with it at all. Just a matter, you playing on right side in the centre defence, yeah?
Just wherever there's a hole.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I just look at Cammy's career very briefly.
Epitomises a pencil tash.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It's absolutely fine. And of course, it's also mimics now worldwide as well. You see so many things on social media, people mimicking Cammy, who is listen to this, ex-Portsmouth, Swindon, Portsmouth, Brentford, Swindon, Stoke, Leeds, Luton, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, Bradford City, and latterly, when he was at Soccer Saturday, Welshpool Town, who wanted to help out. So Cammy's in the team.
Deservedly so.
What do you got, Coisty?
I've got Laurel, another friend of the show. I think Laurel could play alongside him.
Yeah.
No problem at all. Vintage tash, 70s, 80s. The hair to go with it, the flowing locks, and that tash with Laurel. I think they're a perfect partnership in the centre defence.
I think Laurel will be the calming influence.
Oh, I don't get any doubt about
on Cammy, which you would certainly need.
And the other two that we've got, by the way, we've got another calming one and another not so calming one. If I may take over for Giuseppe Bergomi. Right, proper tash. I played against him when he was 16 and he looked about 42, right? Went to Milan, a great Inter Milan side, Colavati, Liam Brady, sensational, a front three of Franco Causio, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and Alessandro Altobelli. Now that was a team.
Yeah.
But that man there, with that moustache, he had that moustache at 16. He probably had it when he was 11, right? I met him, where was it? I met him in Germany at the Euros not so long ago. I met him in Berlin. and we had a wee chat and a wee catch up. Fantastic to see.
What colour is this tash now? Because it was jet black.
Yeah, it's not just as jet black, but it's still as bushy.
Yeah. And finally, we've got a German icon. Yeah, he always reminds me of Tony Woodcock with that hairstyle. But hey, Paul Breitner gets into the defence.
And we've got a lovely photograph of him here where he's got a perm. And the moustache he's got, Jeff, it looks as though he could perm the moustache. I mean, that's as bushy as a moustache as you'll get. Scored, I believe, in 2 World Cup finals. He certainly scored a penalty in 74. And I think he might have scored for Germany in 82 when they lost it to Italy. Brilliant tash, brilliant player, walks into the team.
Yeah, he was a fantastic player, and that is a fantastic tash.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. So that is our defence. And that was a look at some of the iconic moustaches in football to add to our ultimate 11 squad, all thanks to Movember. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Get ready with Movember on talkSPORT. Grow a moustache, raise funds, save lives, and change the face of men's health. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Plenty of suggestions coming in for tashes as well.
Yes.
By the way, Brian Killer Kilcline.
Oh, big killer. Yeah. Yeah, big killer Kilcline.
Yeah, he could have. He could have been a contestant in there.
Yeah.
John Walk, but we great tash. We're looking at midfield for John, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I mean, that was a.
You're only getting away with moving one person out of position. I'm letting you away with Cammy. We can't work his midfield.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. Did Cammy ever play central defence? People used to tell me that he would never headed the ball.
No.
Because
I know how he
hair
feels.
was so precious. Look,
I'm still buzzing.
Oh yeah,
I'm still buzzing.
Look, and people are as well. Always around Trev has texted us, Bradley, brutal honesty, awesome, just ordered.
Wasn't it just? Yeah. I've got to say, and I was so looking forward to it, Jeff. I really was. You know, we spoke about it yesterday. I was like a wee kid in a toy shop there when he came in, and boy, oh boy, did he not let anybody down. That's as good as it gets, I think. Yeah. I just thoroughly enjoyed that half hour. Really enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah. We enjoy, yeah. It's just not necessarily the word, is it? Because it is such a harrowing story for somebody who we all looked up to.
It was fascinating.
And still do, actually, because of his achievements against all the odds. And that is a classic.
Well, you could argue.
All odds.
Yeah, you could argue, and I should probably have asked him the question, but we ran out of time. Is what he's doing now his biggest achievement?
Mm.
It might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Right now, the way he's conducting his life after what he's been through might just be his biggest achievement.
Yeah. And going public with it all, it's probably sort of cathartic for him as well.
Yeah.
I would imagine. And I know he does some theatre stuff and such like, and he tells all of the stories about his life, warts and all in that as well. Very moving, very emotional, especially coming from somebody who's had such a great, unmatchable career.
I thought that was a privilege, actually, for us, you know.
Absolutely brilliant, fantastic. So what you got on today, mate?
I'm back up the road, flying up the road later on today. I'm with Big Al tomorrow, so we'll see what he's got to say.
You're going to be in Glasgow?
Yes, back in Glasgow. So hear what Big Al's got to say about Brendan, Martin and all things Celtic. He'll probably take the floor for a couple of hours from 6 o'clock, I imagine.
When you're back in Glasgow, a little litmus test of how the resignation's been taken and Desmond Dunn's comments have been as well. So Big Al and Ali with you from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll see you next Monday. Jim White, Alex Crook and Brucey next. And of course that exclusive interview with Martin O'Neill. Don't miss it.